Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Presented by AT&T Uverse TV. Well, another gorgeous night here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Rangers trying to make it even better as they look for the sweep against the Houston Astros. Final game of this three-game series. And welcome in, everyone. Along with Tom Green, Steve Busby, delighted you could join us for this Wednesday night of Rangers baseball. Rangers on a roll here at home. They have won 5 straight games, 2 straight against these Astros, and in big part because of one of their not-so-secret weapons, and that would be Adrian Beltre, Tom.
You know, Buzz, for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the young players, and rightfully so, because a lot of young players are getting an opportunity. A lot of young players are playing very well. But we can't lose track of the fact that the last 2 weeks doesn't happen without the best player on the field, and that's Adrian Beltre, who quietly goes about his business, puts up his numbers, shows leadership qualities, and really is a guy that the young players look up to. He's had a terrific season. He's finishing strong, and he is the reason, if you had to label one person the reason why the Rangers have been so successful the last couple of weeks.
Boy, and Adrian lighting up the Astros again this year, too, and Rangers hope that he will keep it going at least for one more night against Houston. This is the final game of the 3-game series. So Adrian Beltre and the Rangers getting behind Luis Alberto Bonilla, who's looking to become the first Ranger pitcher to ever win his first 3 Major League starts. We'll come back with the starting lineup and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. By AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Well, beautiful blue skies overhead. Rangers looking to make it 3 in a row over the Astros and make it 11 out of their last 12 overall. Before we get things started, let's head down to the field and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, as you know, with the trials and tribulations of 2014, this has not been an easy season for anyone. And the Rangers shortstop Elvis Andrus admits that winning 10 of 11 has definitely been a breath of fresh air.
I think the only difference is like we're winning right now, and that changed a lot of faces and a lot of the way we handle ourselves, and it's glad that's what we were trying to do a couple of weeks ago, finish strong and finish the right way, and everybody is doing their job, and we're having fun out there.
And it is nice to see them having fun, even if this winning has occurred late in the season. And Elvis admits that he needs to learn from this experience how to better respond to adverse situations and how to be, a better example for the rest of the guys in the clubhouse to follow. And he admits that he had a difficult time with this season very early on and wasn't able to respond as quickly and the way that he would have liked. And he promises to change that for next year, guys.
All right, Deb, thanks. Yeah, it's always a learning experience, whether you're winning or losing. It's you can take away something that'll benefit you in the future. And certainly Elvis being able to play alongside Adrian Beltre for the last couple of years, taking a lot of positives away from the veteran Beltre, as are all the Rangers that have come in contact with him. Now, Luis Alberto Bonilla on the hill tonight, his third major league start, trying to go 3-0 for the first time ever for a Ranger starting pitcher. Robbie Grossman will lead things off the Astros batting order tonight as Jose Altuve batting second. Jake Marisnick in center field bats third. Then it's the DH, Chris Carter. Mark Krause bats fifth and plays first. Jason Castro is catching. Alex Presley in right. Gregorio Petit is playing third base. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Jonathan Villar.
Sonic scouting report for Luis Alberto. He's had 4 games, 2 of them starts, and he's pitched well. Opponents have only hit 176 against him. The first pitcher in Ranger history to win first 2 starts with 4 walks in each start. Man, they can narrow it down to just about anything. And as you said, Buzz, if he wins tonight, he'll be the first pitcher in Ranger history to ever win his first 3 starts.
Yep.
So that would be pretty good.
Yeah, and they're going to have something about what he had for breakfast in one of those, I think. You have the same thing.
Well, I tell you, in today's game, you can narrow down your stat to pretty much things that you would never think of.
Yep, you are right about that.
No one's ever won their first 2 starts and walked 4 guys in each start.
Well, Robbie Grossman will start things off for the Astros. And the first pitch from Bonilla is in at the knees for strike 1. Grossman, a .231 hitter. Switch hitter up there from the left side. 6 home runs, 37 driven in. Grossman doing a very good job batting in that leadoff spot for the Astros. 1 ball and 1 strike. Astros come in now having lost the 2 straight to the Rangers. 4th place in the American League West, 28 games behind the division-winning Los Angeles Angels. And Bonilla fires strike 2. Astros this year, 31-46 away from Minute Maid Park. They will finish up the season here tonight and then on to New York to play at Citi Field against the Mets, the final 3 games of the year. Tom Lawless, the interim manager, took over the 1st of September when Bo Porter was relieved of his duties. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count. Bonilla back to the plate. Now a full count. Well, Grossman looks like, at least against the Rangers, one of those hitters that you might as well save time and just start the count at 3-2 because he's going to get there eventually.
Yeah, he's a patient hitter. In the last 36 times he's started, he's led off. And his last 60 at bats, he's hitting about 325 or 330. So he may be developing into exactly what the Astros are hoping. Mm-hmm. They're looking for a leadoff hitter, and if he can develop into the kind of guy who can get on base 36 or 7% of the time ahead of Altuve, that's a pretty good start to your lineup.
Now the payoff pitch. That is outside, ball 4, and Grossman begins things by drawing the leadoff walk. And let's take a look at the Ranger defense. It's delivered to you tonight by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Ranger outfield tonight has a familiar look to it. Jake Smolinski is in left field. Leonis Martin in center. And Daniel Robertson is starting right. Ryan Rua gets the start at first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Beltre at third. And Tomas Telis behind the plate, catching for Luis Alberto Bonilla. So 1 on, nobody out. Here is the league's leading hitter, Jose Altuve, a .343 average. And he's going to increase that by a point or so as he bangs that first pitch through the hole on the left side. Altuve, as is his custom, does not wait long to swing the bat.
Well, Altuve's up there against a rookie pitcher, and he knows that Bonilla wants to throw a strike. He's just walked the leadoff hitter. He wants to get ahead. So he's up there pretty confident he's going to get a fastball, knowing that Bonilla wants to throw it for a strike. And so he's not up there taking a pitch under those circumstances. He's pretty confident he's got it narrowed down to the kind of pitch, and if it's a strike, he's going to hit it. And he doesn't miss many of them that are good pitches to hit.
You know, things slowed down here a bit. That ball being taken out of play. It was hit number 222 for Jose Altuve. That ball going over into the dugout for the Astros for Jose. So 2 on, nobody out. Jake Marisnick, the center fielder, takes that first pitch down and away for ball 1. Marisnick doing a good job since coming over from Miami. A .280 hitter, 3 home runs, 19 driven in. And he has been better than a .300 hitter in his last month or so of play. There's the nice changeup. 1 ball and 1 strike. Good look from the lower seats down the left field line. Our RF camera roaming around Globe Life Park tonight, giving you all kinds of different angles of the action on the field. Bonilla checks second, back to the plate. And he jams Marisnick pretty well, gets a foul ball. It's 1-2. Marisnick, prior to coming over to the Astros, hit 167 in Miami. Did not get a whole lot of playing time down there, just 50 at bats. And you can see that 6-game hitting streak from Marisnick now. He's up over 400 in the last week of play with 8 RBI. 1-2 pitch, got him swinging.
There's big out. You get a hot hitter. And Marisnick, over his last 41 games, has been hitting over 300. He's been hitting well against the Rangers. Luis Alberto makes a pretty good pitch right there. Ball sinks. And you can see Marisnick way out in front of it, swinging over the top of it. Big out for Luis Alberto.
And that's Bonilla's best pitch, that straight changeup. Boy, he has great command of it. And you see the arm action that had Marisnick thinking he was seeing fastball. 1 out for Chris Carter, who is the DH tonight. 0-1. Carter, 37 home runs. That's good for second in Major League Baseball, tied with Giancarlo Stanton behind Nelson Cruz, who has 40. Grossman, the lead from second. Altuve trailing him at first. Pitch in the dirt, going to third, the throw, and safe. Whoa. As Grossman got that foot in, and boy, it didn't take Tim Bogart long. He was coming out of the dugout as soon as he saw the safe side thrown up by Ted Barrett.
Well, the throw was quick, but it was low, and Beltre had to scoop it, short hop it, but it looked like the runner slid right into his glove. Let's take a look. Well, actually didn't short hop it. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, they're going to, obviously, Tim issued the challenge to that call, and I don't think it's going to take the folks back in New York very long to overturn this call. The call by Ted Barrett down there is safe at third, and that replay, and the fans here at Globe Life Park just got the same view you got of it at home.
That was a great throw by Telis, who jumped on the ball. I thought it bounced, but it didn't. Adrian caught it right near the bag, brought it over in front of the bag, and the slow motion camera, the excellent camera work, gives them a view of a replay, probably the best one we've had all year, in trying to determine out or safe.
Seth Buckminster, the home plate umpire, and the crew chief Ted Barrett with the headsets on, hooked up to the replay command center in New York. And this didn't take long, and the call is indeed overturned.
He knew he was out.
Yeah.
I hope he knew he was out. If he thought he was safe, all he has to do is go watch the replay and he'll find out.
Well, that is a very big out number 2. Altuve on the play, advanced to second. Count to Chris Carter, 1 ball and 1 strike. Carter, as you saw, a .230 average. Rangers now with the 3 infielders on the left side of the diamond, with Rougned Odor moving over to 2 or 3 steps on the shortstop side of second. Outfield in more of a pronounced shift than they usually are. Off speed, waved at it, missed. It's 2-2.
Probably not exactly where Luis Alberto wanted to throw that ball, but the result was pretty effective. Carter 0 for his last 11, but this kind of a hitter, all it takes is 1 swing of the bat and he can do some damage. Doesn't matter whether it's 0 for 11 or not.
And that's in the dirt. That gets by Tomas Taillon back to the backstop, and Altuve will head down to third base on the wild pitch. And Beltre having a chat with Altuve and Pat Listash, the third base coach. And Taylor's not able to shift his body out quickly enough to get in front of that ball. Tried to snap it with his glove. So a full count. Alberto from the stretch. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Pulled the string, and Carter down on strikes. And the Astros waste an opportunity in the first. No runs to hit. And 1 man left. After a half inning, it's the Astros nothing. The Rangers coming up. In the top of the first, but Luis Alberto Bonilla keeps them off the scoreboard in the run column. Now the Rangers come to bat, and Southwest Airlines would like to show you the Rangers batting order tonight. Leonis Martin back at the top. He is leading off, playing center field. Elvis Andrus follows, and then it's the number 3 hitter, Rougned Odor. Adrian Beltre bats cleanup. Jake Smolinski in left field tonight. .364 average in the last 8 games with a couple of home runs. Tomas Taillon is catching. Ryan Rua at first. Batting 8th, the DH, Luis Sardinas. And hitting 9th, the right fielder, Daniel Robertson.
Sonic scouting report for Scott Feldman. 28 starts. He's got his ERA down to 3.82, and he's been pitching great the last couple of months. Last 10 starts, he's 4-3. A nice ERA of 2.72. On August 30th against the Rangers, he had a 3-hit shutout, probably one of his best starts of his career. But he's pitched very well in his last 10 starts. In fact, in one of those starts, in just a short amount of time, he gave up 7 runs in Boston. If you take that start out, In the other 9 starts, his ERA is right at 2. So that's how well he's been pitching.
0-1 pitch is high to Leonys Martin. Scott Feldman, the 31-year-old, grew up in Burlingame, California, up in the Bay Area. Born in Hawaii. Ranger draft pick out of the College of San Mateo. That pitch fouled back to the screen, and Leonys Martin now down on the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Martin at .277 average. 7 home runs, 39 driven in. Missed last night. Tim Bogard said, yeah, the left-hander on the mound, and also that foul ball that Leonys pounded off of his right leg the night before, still a little bit sore. So good opportunity to sit out the evening, but he was available last night coming off the bench. 2-2 the count. Scott Feldman rocks to the wind, and the pitch chopped right back to him. Knocks it down, recovers, and Leonys Martin is out number 1.
Adding second, shortstop, number 1.
And with 1 out, we'd like to show you the Astros defense, brought to you by Progressive tonight. Outfield of Robbie Grossman in left, Jake Maristic in center, and Alex Presley in right field. Mark Krause at first base, Jose Altuve and Jonathan Villar up the middle. The third baseman is Gregorio Petit, and Jason Castro, the veteran catcher, behind the plate for Scott Feldman. First pitch to Elvis. Sharply hit ground ball, but Villar, a step to his left, has it. And on 1 pitch, Elvis retired by his counterpart. 2 gone for Rougned Odor.
Oh, when Scott's at his best, his sinker gets a lot of ground balls. And judging by the way he pitched the last couple of months, how he's throwing the ball now in September, as well as he's throwing, you'd have to guess that he's had a good sinker and that he is getting a lot of ground balls. And the first 2 hitters would seem to indicate that as well.
Yeah, 6 pitches. He's disposed of both Martin and Andrews. Here's Rougned, a .258 hitter. I'm not so sure he would really wanted to bunt at that ball, but he couldn't get the bat back in time and fouled it off. Odor, 8 home runs, 46 driven in, 2 for 8 in his career against Scott Feldman. This for Odor is 110th game in a season that I think he would have been happy progressing through AA to maybe AAA when the season started. Next thing he knew, he found himself in the big leagues as the everyday second baseman.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the Rangers would have been very happy if he played so well at AA. He earned a promotion to AAA. In fact, I'd have to think that if he played the whole year at AAA and put up the exact same numbers there that he's put up here and finished the season there just like he is now, they'd be pretty happy with that.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And that would be deemed for a 20-year-old excellent progress.
Yeah. And he's done it in the big leagues.
Yeah. And he's gotten stronger, it seems like, as far as his production and how he's playing the game.
Yeah, I think that comes with the confidence that he's gained.
Feldman throwing that cutter in on his fist, and Rougned fouls it back.
You also hear the Rangers staff talk about his aptitude, his work ethic, the questions he asks, the desire to get better and to learn. All those things certainly enter into it. And then the experience that he's gotten playing every day in the big leagues. And boils down to the talent that he has, too.
Checks his swing on a pretty good breaking ball by Feldman. The appeal down to Ted Barrett at third, who said no swing. That evens the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, Odor has made an impression, a positive impression on virtually everybody he's come in contact with. And that goes from the coaching staff to his teammates to us up here and all the fans. Fans really enjoy watching the enthusiasm he plays the game with. He's worked the count full to Feldman, trying to get aboard in front of the Ranger cleanup man, Adrian Beltre. Now Feldman with a payoff pitch. That's out of play. We'll try it again. Yeah, we'll pick up this theme next time we see Rugnet too at the plate, but just kind of a foreshadowing of what might happen in 2015 in spring training. We'll pick you up with Jurickson Profar's latest plight. He's been shut down for the next 2 months at least, and maybe longer than that. Latest injury diagnosed, or I shouldn't say the latest injury, the latest setback has been diagnosed as more of an issue with a loose shoulder. That's something that you usually see with pitchers, more so than infielders. But Tim Bogar was talking about this yesterday, that, you know, the odd thing is that there isn't a whole lot of surgical remedy for it that would there sure would cure the problem. So it's kind of a hit and miss approach to it, as far as they're going to try rest, they're going to try rehabilitation once he gets the okay to resume activities again, and hope that takes care of Jurickson's problem. And Odor drives one into the corner in right field. That's going to be extra base. Presley digs the ball out of the corner, and stopping at second with a 2-out double, Rugnet Odor, who continues to slam the ball all over the ballpark. 13th double of the year.
Well, that's pretty much what we've been seeing the last month. And he's facing a pitcher who's been throwing the ball great. He gave him a little bit of everything. He laid off a pretty good curveball. He's throwing him a sinker. He tried to get the cutter in on him. He fouled off some pretty good pitches. And then finally, in the at-bat, he got a ball he could handle and drilled it down the right field line for a double. But Buzz, you're talking about that loose shoulder. The first time I ever heard that subluxation of the shoulder was Eddie Correa, when Eddie was pitching here back in the 80s. You know, you remember what a prospect he was,
right.
And he was never able to come back from that injury and be effective again. And I wouldn't have known back then that there was a surgery or not, but evidently that's not the kind of thing that you can guarantee success from if you do have surgery, right?
Right. Yeah, and you know, shoulder injuries for pitchers have become much more difficult to rebound from. Pitch to Beltre inside, 2-0 or 1-1. And for whatever reason, I know the rotator cuff repair and a loose shoulder like this, maybe a labrum tear. It seems like the recovery is maybe in the 60% range of getting back to the big leagues, whereas Tommy John, for example, you're looking at 92% of the guys that have that surgery are able to pitch again at the big league level and able to get back to where they were, if not better. But shoulders, boy, it's anybody's guess, and you know, I've heard of all kinds of theories about why that is. The 360-degree range of the shoulder makes it difficult to stabilize it and what have you. But the upshot of the whole thing is, you get a shoulder injury, if you don't catch it in time, meaning catch it early before there's a lot of damage done, you're looking at maybe a career-ending process. Well, Adrian down on strikes as Philbin got a good sinker down and into him. Rangers can't do anything with Odor's 2-out double. They strand him in. After one, we are scoreless at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Scoreless ball game. We head to the top of the second inning. Each ball club with a hit and no damage in the run column as of yet. That's a different way to watch the ball game. Get turned up on your head. Give you a different viewpoint. Yep, there it is right out there. Mark Krause to start things off for the Astros here in the second. It'll be Krause, Castro, and Presley to face Luis Alberto Bonilla. First pitch of the second inning is inside for ball one. Krause, a 196 average with 6 home runs, 21 driven in. Originally was slated to be the DH tonight, but he and Chris Carter switched positions. Carter handling the DH chores, Krause playing defensively at first. 0 for his last 6 is Mark Krause with 4 strikeouts. 2-0 pitch. Now 2-1. Bonilla, last time out against the Angels, a 12-3 win. He went 5 innings. He gave 2 runs on 2 hits, but as Tom told you, the 4 walks in that ball game ran up his pitch count, and he was finished after 5 full innings. And his first start against Atlanta really pitched well. He got it through 6 innings. Gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. Tried the breaking ball and missed the outside corner. And the count is full to Krause. Here's the line from his last ball game, his second straight win, defeating the Angels. Now the payoff pitch to Krause. Off the end of the bat, up the middle. And Elvis behind the bag has an easy play for out number 1.
Now, one thing that Luis Alberto is showing in this game is that when he's behind in the count, he doesn't have to throw his fastball. He struck Carter out on a 3-2 breaking ball. That was a changeup that he got Krause to hit right off the end of the bat. So he has a lot of confidence in his off-speed pitches.
Jason Castro now, the left-handed hitting catcher up there. Castro and Carlos Corporan, Max Stassi this last month kind of switching off duty behind the plate. We have seen all 3 of them in this series, each getting a start. And Rangers, of course, going into that overshift with Andrus on the first base side of second and way out into shallow right, Rougned Odor. Castro, a 223 average. And Bonilla brushes him back off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Last 5 ball games for Castro, just 1 for 16 with 8 strikeouts. Bonilla's next pitch hit well to right center field. Moving over is Robertson. And Daniel maybe battling the lights a little bit. Stays with it for out number 2.
A well hit ball by Castro. Fortunately, we had a man out there to catch that thing.
And with 2 outs, Alex Presley coming up. Let's welcome in Jim Knox. Jim?
I appreciate it, Buzz. Small group of Ranger fans in from Tennessee tonight, rooting on the Rangers. Good to have them here. In Community Corner this evening, the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation, along with the Just Keep Living programs, are all about keeping local area high school students healthy. And to find out more about Just Keep Living programs, log on to texasrangers.com/foundation. Buzz?
All right, Knoxy, thank you. Now 2 quick outs here in the top of the second inning. Alex Presley, 249 average, takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Presley trying to work back into the swing of things, no pun intended, but had to miss some time with that intercostal strain, the rib muscle. Kept him out of action, and he's been back in there now. This is his 10th ball game back. And picking things up a bit. Half a dozen home runs, 19 driven in. Two-0 pitch coming. 2-1. Bonilla, overall his 6th career appearance. He had 3 outings in relief when he first joined the ball club. That pitch rifled foul down the first base side. Karam's off a couple of seat backs and up a few rows. Luis Alberto called up from AAA Round Rock when the rosters expanded. He came up on the 2nd of September. Major League debut on the 4th against Seattle. Also had a relief outing against the Angels. And the 2 starts, as we mentioned, against Atlanta and the Angels. 2-2 pitch off the glove of Bonilla and over toward Odor, who could not change his direction in time and make the bare hand pickup. So it's going to be a base hit as that ball shot off of Bonilla's glove. But Odor was already hightailing it toward the middle of the diamond. He had to stop and try to come back.
And Bonilla had a shot at it. Couldn't quite make the pickup. Not that easy when you're that close to the hitter. You can look at Odor trying to get it with his bare hand. He got it in the tips of his fingers, but couldn't get it far enough up in his hand to make a throw.
Another second hit of the night for the Astros against Luis Alberto. 1 on, 2 out. Gregorio Petit takes just inside for ball 1. Petit getting the start tonight over Matt Dominguez, but Dominguez had the start in the first 2 ball games. Petit, a .284 average, a couple of home runs, 9 runs driven in. Petit last played on Sunday against the Mariners for the Astros. 1-0 pitch instead is a toss to first. Astros, you remember, love to run, and Jose Altuve foremost among them with 54 stolen bases, but the team's second in the American League to Kansas City in stolen bases. Drive to center field, going back, Leonis Martin still going back, reaches up and hauls it in. Nice jump and a nice play by Leonis Martin. That ball scalded out there by Gregorio Petit. Astros are gone. No runs on a hit. 1 left after 1.5. We are scoreless in Arlington. Photo for a chance to have it shown on one of our upcoming broadcasts. And that's all thanks to the good folks at AT&T. Just use hashtag Southwest Fan Photo, and your photo might be selected to be aired during the season. But you better do it in a hurry. We're down to 4 games left after tonight. And again, thanks to the folks at AT&T for making this interaction possible with you all for the entire year. It's been a great run. Jake Smolinski to start things off here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Scott Feldman gave up a 2-out double to Rougned Odor in the first, but stranded Odor with a strikeout of Beltre as Smolinski takes strike one. Jake hitting at a lofty .377 average, a couple of home runs, and 11 driven in. 0-1 pitch. Up the middle, the arm behind second. Low throw, and it's dug out by Kraus. Smolinski retired, one away. Next will be Tomas Telis.
We've been talking about Scott, how well he's been pitching and how well he's thrown this season. Last year he spent half the year with the Cubs, half the year with the Orioles, and had almost the exact same half season for both teams. He had 30 starts. He was 12-12 with a .386 ERA. And he had the 10th best opponent's batting average in baseball. And that led to a nice 3-year contract with the Astros for a good amount of money, somewhere around $30 million. And they were hoping he could do the same thing, and essentially he's done pretty much the same thing. Won-loss record is a little bit different because he's on a different kind of team. But as far as the numbers that he's put up, his ERA is about the same. Opponent's batting average is really good, but maybe not quite as good as it was last year. And he might come up a few innings short of last year, but they wanted a veteran stabilizer in the rotation. That's exactly what Scott's been.
Yeah, it's amazing. You look at the Astros starting rotation. Feldman coming into tonight has almost as many starts with 159 as the rest of the rotation combined.
Yeah,
and you throw him out there that way, and Dallas Keuchel, Brad Peacock, McHugh, and Oberholzer and Tropiano, they have a total of 177. So Feldman almost as much experience as those five put together, but he's providing, as you mentioned, Tom, a very, very good pattern for those young players to follow. Shallow center field. Telis fly ball handled by the center fielder Marisnik. That's out number 2. A good influence, though, Scott Feldman. And Ranger fans will remember Scott very highly thought of as a member of the Rangers, as a person, along with being a pitcher. And certainly he's carried that through to Houston, provided a great example and some veteran leadership. 2 outs, Ryan Rua. A .315 average now will step in. Rua won for just 3 at-bats against Feldman in his brief major league career. And Feldman pumps in a strike on the outside corner. Adrian Beltre, he's got a pretty good seat to check this out from, right at the far end of the Ranger dugout.
Yeah, if I remember back to the 3-hit shutout that Scott just threw against the Rangers, I think Ryan had 3 good at-bats against him. I think he got a base hit up the middle and hit a couple of other balls hard as well. So in a game where the pitcher was pretty much dominating, giving up 3 hits in 9 innings, Ryan had 3 good at-bats against him.
You saw that .397 figure in the last 15 games. He's had pretty good at-bats against everybody, it seems like.
Sure has.
Been impressive to watch him go about his business. And Tim Bogar was talking about him today a little bit, comparing Rua and Jake Smolinski. He said, they're 2 different kinds of hitters from the standpoint of the length of their swing and that kind of thing. Well, we'll pick that up the next time we see Ryan Rua or Jake Smolinski. 3 up, 3 down. Scott Feldman sends the Rangers down in order. We have finished 2. It's the Rangers nothing and the Astros nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. 2 hits for the Astros, 1 for the Rangers. And Luis Alberto Bonilla back out to the hill. He will face the number 9 man, Jonathan Villar, to start things off for Houston. Robbie Grossman, Jose Altuve to follow. Villar, the switch hitting shortstop, a .211 average as he steps to the plate. And Bonilla's first pitch in at the belt for strike 1. Villar started on Monday night. Marwin Gonzalez had the start at short last night, and then Villar entered the ball game late as a pinch runner last night. Takes high and tight, 1 ball and 1 strike. Villar, who was the opening day shortstop for the Astros this year, held the starting job through the tail end of June. It was optioned to AAA. Offensive woes kind of got in the way of him progressing any further, so the Astros sent him to AAA. Marwin Gonzalez took over as the everyday shortstop, and Villar came back up once the rosters were expanded the 2nd of September.
That ball just bounced out of the second deck, went all the way down to the first deck, and a husband and wife, guy and a girl, I assume it's husband and wife, are sitting together. The husband ducked, and his wife stood up and caught it one-handed.
There you go. Tell who the athlete in that family is.
I guess.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Well, Villar battling Bonilla to start things off, trying to get aboard. We'll take the Astros back to the top of the order for Robbie Grossman. Payoff pitch on the way. Got him swinging. Again, something other than a fastball on a 3-2 count. That is strikeout number 3 for Bonilla.
Yeah, it looks like he actually has good command, as good command with his off-speed pitches as he does with his fastball. And when you see that pitch 3-2, that changeup, you're more apt to swing at a pitch in that location than you would at a fastball in that location. It doesn't fool you. But when you see the changeup, I think you're more apt to swing at it when it's out of the strike zone. Good breaking ball.
Yep. First pitch to Grossman. He was going to have a shot at it and came up empty. Grossman drew a walk to lead the ball game off. He advanced to second on Altuve's single. Then was cut down trying to go from second to third on a pitch in the dirt. Pitch outside. Tomas Teles, the Ranger catcher, nailed him. A good throw down to Beltran. And that was a big out in that first inning. 1-1 pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Grossman has had at least 1 hit in 13 of his last 14 ball games. Had a 1-for-4 night here last night. Over the leap of Elvis Andrus into center field, and Grossman was hitting well over 300 against the Rangers. Continues his streak. He is aboard with 1 out. Jose Altuve coming up, and let's take time here for a Mazda game break with John Radigan. John. All right, John, thank you.
Boy, it was there for Seattle for the taking. They just haven't been able to take it. Oakland has not played well at all.
Pitch out without Altuve.
Fortunately for them, Seattle's played worse.
There's your wild card. The magic numbers for both the Royals and Athletics at 3 means any combination of wins by those two teams and losses by Seattle that total 3, and the end is then. Altuve reaches out, hits a drive to left field. Long run for Smolinski, and he makes the catch.
That was fun to watch from our angle.
Wow.
He didn't really hit a line drive. It was more of a semi-line drive that hung up there. But Jake still had a long way to go for it from left center field all the way over toward the line. And you could see him cutting the gap, and it looked like he was going to catch up with it, but you couldn't be for sure until he finally got to the ball. There's the angle we're talking about. Is he going to get it? Just catches it on the run. Had to go a long way, but He had it all the way.
That was almost a mirror image of that ball last night that fell in for the double in right field. Who was that off of? That was Marisnick's double in the 9th inning. Jake was playing right field last night, and that one sliced away from him toward the line just as this one did. He was hooking away from him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Rangers, not able to catch last night's, but able to catch this one. So out number 2. Grossman still at first. 0-1 now the count to Jake Marisnick. There goes Grossman. The throw is low, and on one big hop down to Odor. Luis Alberto Bonilla almost got nailed by Taylor's throw.
Yeah, you better not duck. You better get out of the way. You could have ducked down that one, got hit right in the back.
And he wouldn't have been the first one to have that happen to him.
Nope. Tomas has a tough pitch to throw on. He has to reach for a ball down and away, and he knows that he's got to get rid of it quickly because Grossman had a nice jump. So he did the best he could and actually came up with a halfway decent throw, even though it was low. It bounced accurately.
Next pitch to Marisnick is high. It's 2 balls and a strike. Well, the stolen base gets Grossman in scoring position. Marisnick with runners in scoring position this year at 270. Bonilla, a check of second, the 2-1. Looper into center, that's a base hit. Grossman around third. Here comes the throw from Martin. The tag, he is out at home plate.
They tagged him at second base just in case they appeal it.
A bullet from Leonis Martin to Tomas Taylor for the out. And Tom Lawless, the Astros manager, making a backward walk out toward home plate. And he just got the word from his bench that it would be worth the challenge. So he's going to go out and issue the challenge, I believe, to Seth Buckminster, the home plate umpire.
That's one, when he threw it to second base, Elvis assumed he was out at the plate. But if Elvis tags the runner, I guess that out counts at second base after the run scores, right?
I would think so. I don't know for sure.
I think the play keeps on going. Well, it turns out he's going to be out anyway, but I think on that play, let's say the call is overturned, but you tag the guy at second.
I don't know.
I think the out counts.
Probably does. It probably does. We'll give you one more shot at that. And
that's a great throw.
The result is nothing for the Astros on a couple of hits. Thanks to Leonis Martin's rocket arm. Bottom of the third coming up, still scoreless. For pennant races is with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. You can enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, MLB.TV game of the day, and a whole lot more. Get it back for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit MLB.com. Now, he really appreciated that throw, but he was more interested in what he's got in that cup.
Yeah, I'm not sure he could recreate the throw, but he's bearing down on whatever it is he's eating right there.
Luis Sardinas leading off. There you go. Sardinas handling the DH chores tonight. Switch hitter up there from the left side. 262 average overall. Feldman with the 1-1 pitch. Sardinas, no home runs, 8 driven in. Luis in his third tour of duty with the Rangers. Remember, he came up in April in advance of Rougned Odor. He was the youngest player in the big leagues at the time that he came up. And then Odor followed Sardinas and became the youngest player at the big league level. Odor stayed the youngest in the major leagues all year. 3-1 the count. Sardinas trying to get aboard to start this inning. Feldman back to him and misses with ball 4. Sardinas draws the leadoff walk. First time the Rangers have had a leadoff man aboard. And Daniel Robertson will follow in the batting order. Well, the Rangers an opportunity now to do something with speed both at first and at the plate. Daniel Robertson, of course, handles the bat very well. And Sardinas with his good speed, a very good base runner. Daniel, a 273 average. He went through a little bit of a rough streak for about 25 at bats, and he's gotten things back on track. In a bunt, it's a good one. Play by the third baseman Petit on to first. The sacrifice goes 5-3 and into scoring position. Luis Sardinas. Nice sacrifice bunt by Daniel Robertson. Well, it takes the Rangers back to the top of the order for Leonys Martin.
You know, Buzz, you were talking last night about, was it 6 straight one-run games?
Five straight
one-run games.
Right.
You know, when you're in a streak like that, you make the assumption that the team must be doing a lot of the little things to win those games. And here's a good example of getting a sacrifice bunt done. There's another example of seeing the ball in the dirt, getting a good jump, taking the extra base. And so for a young team, they're starting to get it together as far as the little things go, making the plays that you expect to be made.
Wait, it seems like almost every single game we've seen a Ranger runner use that anticipation, a ball in the dirt and not getting very far from home plate.
Yeah.
But they're taking the extra base. Well, the wild pitch, and now Sardinas just 90 feet away with 1 out, and that'll draw the Astros infield all the way into the cut of the grass. 1 ball, no strikes to Martin. High and tight, that cut fastball from Feldman. And it's 2-0. Leonys has been stuck on 39 RBI for a while. It'd be a good time for him to get off that mark. 38% of the time this year. A little bit under the major league average. Leonys able to score that runner from third with less than 2 outs. In the air to center field. Not very deep. Sardinas tagging at third. Marisnik with a catch. And Sardinas is not coming. The throw is cut off by Krause, so that ball just not deep enough to center off the bat of Leonys Martin for Luis Sardinas to try it. And that is out number 2.
He got a hanging breaking ball, which is usually a pretty good pitch to get in the air, which he did. He just got underneath it a little bit too much, and it wasn't quite deep enough for Gary Pettis to feel comfortable sending the runner. You know, Marisnik is a good center fielder with a solid arm, and you have to make your call before you see the throw. And as it was a strong throw. It wasn't on line, but it looked like the cutoff man would have had time to cut it and relay it home in time because of how strong Marisnik got it to the cutoff man.
And the first pitch to Elvis Andrus in at the knees for strike 1. Elvis with runners in scoring position. This has been a real tough year for Elvis in that regard. Just a 207 average. 31 of his 39 RBI in these situations. And he has Luis Sardinas down at third, but with 2 outs. Feldman with the 0-1. Make it 0-2. Elvis has had fairly good success against Scott Feldman. 6 out of 19 coming in. Our Jack in the Box pitch tracker showing you that last pitch from Feldman, the cut fastball, just nudging the outside corner. Nothing in 2 as Feldman sets, working from the stretch with Sardinas at third. Ground ball to third off the fist. Petit triggers the throw across, and that'll do it. Well, the Rangers waste a golden opportunity. A walk, and they leave Sardinas stranded at third. We have finished 3 in Arlington. Rangers nothing, Astros nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. And by the all-new Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. Now we head to the top of the 4th inning, and as always, joining us for the middle 3, co-host of Rangers Live before and after the ball games, Mark McLemore. And it's almost time again, Mac.
It is almost time.
Half an inning.
Half an inning.
Okay.
10 minutes, 11 minutes tonight.
Did you stretch out?
Yeah.
You get good
I
loose?
did. I'm loose.
Okay.
I'm loose.
All
Right shoulder's loose. That's the only thing that can get loose. The rest of it, no chance.
Chris Carter, a swing and a miss, and it's 2-1. That's your waving around shoulder, right? You're waving the runners around third?
Or as I was told, no, that's my eating shoulder.
Your eating shoulder?
Yeah, it's very loose.
2-2. Carter, a strikeout victim back in the first inning. Luis Alberto Bonilla with 3 strikeouts tonight. 1 walk that came against the leadoff man in the first. 2-2 pitch. Didn't miss by much. That fastball, and after Carter had seen all the off-speed pitches, no way he was going to be able to pull the trigger. But Luis Alberto now with the full count. And the payoff pitch to Carter. Got him swinging.
Good movement on that sinker.
Wow. First time it was a changeup, and this time it was a heavy sinker.
Yeah, he's not an overpowering guy as far as radar gun speed goes. But when you combine the movement on his sinker with his breaking ball and his changeup, it's a pretty good assortment of pitches. Looks like he's going to hit it right now until it sinks underneath his bat. That's a great shot.
Pretty good assortment of pitches and pretty good location. You throw that thing, you're not going to get hurt too much.
No.
There. No, one gone, and Mark Krause, the first baseman. Goes after the first pitch with no success, 0-1. Krause, a ground ball to short, his first time up. Astros with at least one hit in each of the first 3 innings. They have 4 total. Rangers with just 1 hit tonight against Scott Feldman. Krause, a 195 average. Bonilla back to him. 2-1. Right-hander deals. And Krause rips one foul down the right side. That evens things up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Next pitch for Luis Alberto Bonilla will be number 60 for this evening. He's had several full counts, and it's one reason why his pitch count is a little bit higher than you'd like to see it. Gets out number 2 on a kind of a limp line drive down to Ryan Rua at first. Above, Southwest Airlines is celebrating the arrival of 15 new nonstop destinations out of Dallas Love Field. Just go to southwest.com/RangersLove to enter to win round trip tickets. Two gone here in the 4th. Jason Castro lined to right field. Back in the 2nd inning, he takes ball 1. Castro double figures in home runs again, back-to-back years. He's the first Astros catcher now that has done that in consecutive years, gotten into double figures. He and our booth mate up here, Alan Ashby, next door with the Astros broadcast crew, the only 2 catchers that have had 2 different seasons of double-digit home runs. Not a lot of power-hitting catchers in the Astros over the years.
I was thinking that. It's kind of strange.
Yeah. You would think after all that time they'd have somebody.
As the shifts have become more prominent, to just give into it. As opposed to, and we've seen a number of the better hitters around baseball this year, around the American League.
That's Allen. Typical catcher, always analyzing things. 2-1. Now 3-1. Yeah, that kind of surprised me. Astros have been in existence since 1962, and to have only 2 catchers that have done that, I found that a little odd.
They almost had one. But something tells me if he was going to stay behind the plate, he wouldn't have been a Hall of Famer.
And you're probably right. On to first, and there's the first 1-2-3 inning for Luis Alberto Bonilla. 3 up, 3 down. We've gone through 3.5. Rangers nothing, Astros nothing on Fox Sports Southwest.
Buzz and Tom, I think I found the happiest couple in the stands tonight. This is Brian and Grace celebrating their big 2-year anniversary. Now, Brian, you could have gone anywhere. Why the ballpark?
Oh, we got $1 hot dogs and cold beer. The wedding was expensive. $1 hot dogs are right on price.
There we go. All right, and Grace, I don't think you had any problem with it because you guys actually met here at a Ranger game. You're keeping score tonight. And he even brought a couple of guys with you tonight. Guy and a girl, of course, but a couple of friends.
Yeah, we're here for a great time and to celebrate our 2-year anniversary.
All right, okay. Well, you guys have fun. I'll let you get back to business. Enjoy the game, all right? Thanks.
Second anniversary, huh? Okay.
No, I'm more impressed with her keeping score.
I am too. Yeah, I agree with you. Now, Rugnet Odor leading things up. Mac, it's time.
It is time.
Yeah, whenever you want to do it.
All right, here we go. Rugi will get things started again. We'll get him home this time.
Odor, Beltre, and Smolinski here in the 4th inning. Scoreless ball game. And Rugnet chopping one foul. That runs the count to 0-2. Odor smoked that double into the corner in right field off of Scott Feldman, his first time up. That's the only hit so far that the Rangers have against the tall right-hander from Burlingame, California. 0-2 pitch. Remember, Scott Feldman became a 17-game winner for the Rangers, and it was almost directly and completely attributable to his development of that cut fastball that he throws. He found that, and he coupled that with his sinker and an occasional slow curveball, and he just became a beast for the Rangers.
You know, as a hitter, it's very difficult when a pitcher can throw 2 and 3 pitches for strikes. And when Feldy came up with that cutter, my goodness, that was a very good pitch. You know, he's got the sinker, and that's a tough pitch in itself. But when you've got the cutter and you see something up a little bit, you think it may be that sinker and it's the cutter. That's one reason the Rangers have 1 hit right now in the 4th inning.
Yeah.
It looks as though a couple of those are working.
Tough to recognize the difference in the two of them for a hitter.
It can be if he's on, if he's throwing strikes with both, or keeping that sinker down in the zone. If that sinker's up, then you can really see it much better.
Tried the backdoor hook and missed. The count has gone full, so Odor trying to get aboard for the second time. He's leading off the 4th inning. He'll be followed by the Ranger cleanup man, Adrian Beltre. Feldman, a long look in. Now to the wind, the payoff pitch. High ball 4. Good job by Odor getting aboard. And Adrian Beltre will now face Feldman.
Yeah, that's the walk you wouldn't expect from Scott ahead in the count like he was.
Our Ford leaderboard, one of the major league leaders in the batting race. And Altuve, of course, leading at 343. Victor Martinez second. He's 9 points behind. Michael Brantley is 7 points behind Martinez. And then Adrian Beltre, just a couple behind Brantley. So that's 4. And, of course, Justin Morneau leading the National League at 319. That wouldn't even make the top 5 in the American. Beltre a strikeout the first time that he faced Feldman. One of the few guys that really has given Adrian a lot of problems over the years. Beltre came into the game with just a 207 average, 6 for 29, now 6 for 30 with the strikeout. Shooting one to right toward the line, Presley, and he runs it down. Odor back to first. Now Beltre gave it a pretty good shot down in that corner, but Presley and the Astros shading Adrian slightly that way.
Yeah, he must have been shading him that way because off the bat, I wasn't watching where he was playing, but off the bat when the ball is hit, first thing that goes through your mind, there's a double down the right field line. Presley was right there to get it.
How do they play him way over there?
Yeah. Well, look, you can't see him in the picture right there. I don't know that we've seen anybody play him quite that far over toward right field.
That's got to be a Feldman thing where you say, hey, I'm going to stay away from him. We're going to play him that way and let him go ahead and wear out the right field line. We've got him you got a guy over there.
Smart positioning.
Yeah, if you can make those pitches, Feldman with that cut fastball, he knows he can keep it out there.
Yep.
No, one away. Odor still at first. Jake Smolinski, who grounded out to short his first time as the Ranger hitter. There goes Odor, and the pitch is topped down the third base line. It goes foul. So the hit and run on is Smolinski, and Odor now will retrace his steps, as will Jake Smolinski, back to first base and home plate.
It looked like Odor had a pretty good jump for a hit and run.
Tough pitch to throw a hit and run on with that slow breaking ball, too. That's got to be a little difficult to recognize and wait long enough when you're trying to hit the ball the other way. Feldman gets the sign. Again, he is set. Low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jake with 2 home runs. Matter of fact, he has 2 of the last 6 home runs the Rangers have hit. Team still next to last in the American League when round trippers, 106 coming into play tonight. Kansas City, the only team with fewer. That pitch hangs inside to him. 2 balls and a strike. Well, if you tried it on the first pitch, it's a pretty good opportunity here at 2-1, a favored count for a lot of managers to try a hit and run again.
Yeah, Scott, he's got to be around the plate, and that's what you really want when you're putting on that hit and run.
Odor on the move, and it's on again, and Smolinski fouled it back.
Another good jump.
Getting his wind sprints in. Checking with Gary Pettis. On his way back to first.
I think if he swung and missed, he would have stolen second base.
Yeah. Well, 2-2 now. In the outfield, playing Smolinski the other way as they did Beltre. Pretty good gap in left center field. A lot of real estate out there. Again, Odor going, and again the pitch fouled off.
I think Odor's going because he's pretty confident, and so is Tim Bogar, that with Feldman's delivery to the plate, he's going to be able to steal it if it's ball 3 or if he swings and misses.
Well, the last couple of jumps, I would agree with you. There's not much of a chance for Castro to throw him out. Brugdad looking for some oxygen over there at first. Castro, okay, well, just give me a chance if he's not going to foul the pitch off. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. Feldman, that belt high set. Odor on the move again. The pitch swung on a miss. The throw to second, not in time. Smolinski strikes out. Odor with the stolen base, now in scoring position, but with 2 outs. His 4th stolen base of the year for Rugnet.
That was probably his lesser jump of the 4 attempts. Plus, he's probably a little tired from the 3 before.
Odor was at second with 2 outs in the first inning. Left stranded. He's at second with 2 outs here in the 4th. And we'll see if Taylor can pick him up. 0-1 on the foul ball. Tomas, fly ball to center. That was back in the second. 258 average with 8 RBI. Feldman looking at a series of signs. Now he is ready. 1 ball and 1 strike. Daly's 3 previous at-bats against Feldman coming into play here tonight. So He is 0 for 4. But he has done a very good job with runners in scoring position this year. At 368 average. Pretty impressive. All 8 of his RBI have come in these situations. Feldman checks second. The 1-1 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes. Bagley's checking with Seth Buckminster, the home plate umpire. So was that pitch up? And Buckminster said, yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make much difference to Taylor. He's walked one time at 61 at best. He may know where it is, but it's not going to stop him from swinging at it the next time.
Blowing outside 2-2.
You know, I never really liked when guys did that. When hitters would ask the umpire if it was a strike or not.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's telling the umpire you don't know what your strike zone is.
Yeah, exactly.
And the catcher.
I think that's exactly what you're saying to the umpire.
So if he calls you out on a bad pitch, you can't argue.
No, you didn't know where it was anyway.
And the catcher's sitting there listening to all that stuff, and he's saying, hey, this guy has no clue. Let's see how big he can expand that thing. Still 2-2 to Taylor. Our Jack in the Box pitch tracker showing you a pretty wide dispersal. That's about 2 plate widths worth of strike zone. Feldman again set. Chopper slowly hit out to short. They are on the run. Throws. It's not dug out by Krause, who got it in the glove, but it popped back out, and everybody's safe. Bailey's busting it down the line. A good throw would have gotten him. VR buried it in the dirt, and Krause couldn't make the pickup. So the Rangers with runners at the corners and 2 away for Ryan Rua.
Taylor does a very good job of hustling and running this ball out. You know, that put a little pressure on VR there. That's not an easy play, number one. But when you see that guy busting it down that line, as a fielder, you know that you cannot make a mistake.
Well, you always hear people say that speed puts the pressure on the infielders, and having been an infielder, is that a truism?
Oh, absolutely true. You know, if there's a guy that can absolutely fly, you can't bobble it. Even at second base, you don't want to bobble it like, you know, a Kenny Lofton.
Yeah.
There's no time to bobble it. In shortstop, you've got to be in a couple of steps. So there's no extra crow hop, no patting in the glove. You get it, you got to let it go, and it has to be a strike.
Yeah.
That goes down as an error on VR, and the first pitch to Rua is chopped foul. 0-1. Well, the first error of the night committed by the Astros, and we'll see if the Rangers can't capitalize. Rua called out on strikes his first time up. Ryan now 1 for 4 against Feldman. Scott in the mid-60s, pitch count wise. 2 on, 2 out here in the 4th inning. Feldman with a 0-1 pitch. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Rougned Odor walked, stole second. Went to third on the error off the ground ball off Tali's bat. Jonathan VR making that miscue on a bad throw. 1-1, the count to Rua. Now 2-1. With runners in scoring position this year, Ryan, a 241 average. He's had 8 of his 10 RBI in these situations. 2 for 3 with a double in last night's ball game. Feldman checks the runners and hits him. That fastball coming in, and you got Rua on the left hand.
Boy, we've seen guys get hit there several times in the last couple of weeks. I think that late movement on that pitch is what allowed that to come in and hit him. Didn't look like he was in a position to get out of the way, and I don't think he thought he was going to get hit there until right at the end.
That ball really runs.
Yeah.
When that did too, that got his hand right between the ball and her wrist.
Ooh.
Wow. So the hit batter, that's going to load him up. Rua being tended to by Kevin Harmon and Jim Bulgar as he walks down that first base line.
Got a walk, an error, and a hit batter. A line drive in the gap somewhere.
I'm waiting for a trainer to do that, and the guy just reach over and punch him. Say, don't do that. That hurts.
At least they don't bring that ethyl chloride
Yeah, the spray,
out
the cold spray.
That looked like a good idea at the time, I guess.
It did. It really did.
I think all it was, it didn't do much for what happened to you. It just hurt more than than the bruise did. Made you forget about it. I think they stopped using it when players like Joe Lovito would turn it on and get a match and turn it into a blowtorch on the bench.
Yeah, I think that was that would do it. That would do it.
That and guys were freezing bugs and all kinds of stuff.
Everything, it was being used for everything except what it was supposed to be used for.
It was a bad day when it was one of the years of the locusts here. Boy, those things were in trouble on our bench.
All right, here's Luis Sardinas with the bases loaded. And Feldman drops in that hook for strike one. Sardinas drew a walk back in the third inning.
He treated those locusts into white walkers. You have to know what that means.
Star Wars. That's Star Wars?
No.
Oh.
No. It might be Star Wars, but it's also Game of Thrones.
No, that one I did not know.
Little flip to second just ahead of the sliding Rua, and that will do it. Now the Rangers get a walk, a hit batter, and an error. They strand three. We're going to the fifth inning. We are still scoreless at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Heavy hometown kids every Saturday morning. It's on at 10 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. Some Ranger fans out here at the ballpark having a fun Wednesday night, the last dollar hot dog night of the year. Nice crowd on hand, a scoreless ball game as we head to the top of the fifth inning. It'll be the bottom third of the Houston lineup to face Luis Alberto Bonilla. Bonilla facing Alex Presley. Presley had an infield single off Bonilla's glove in the second inning. One of 4 hits that Bonilla has allowed tonight to the Astros. And the first pitch low and inside for ball 1. Bonilla, 66 pitches, 34 strikes, 32 balls. And that it's kind of an unusual ball-strike ratio compared to, or considering he hasn't walked but 1 hitter tonight. A lot of long counts. He's falling behind Presley now. 2 balls, no strikes.
Presley's the kind of hitter where the umpire should motion out to the pitcher and say, throw the ball. He steps out on every pitch, gets his thoughts together, and then slowly goes back into the batter's box.
2-1.
To me, the pitcher standing on the rubber, the umpire just says, go ahead and throw it if the batter wants to leave the batter's box.
Article day before yesterday that Commissioner Seelig had commissioned a panel to study the lengths of time.
All you got to do is watch this at bat, and you'll see probably 30 seconds added to the game because he steps out on every pitch.
2-1.
Watch him.
Now 2-2.
And step back, adjust his glove. Pitcher's ready on the mound. Going to wait, get his thoughts together, step back, pat the plate. Now I'm ready to go. That's like 10 or 15 seconds every pitch.
Got him swinging. And you could have done that in half the time.
Yeah,
You're
so
going to punch out.
that's what you get.
That's 5 strikeouts for Bonilla.
I'm a little upset there. No, you keep looking for ways. Everybody says the game should be quicker, and there's a great example of it. The umpire just looks out at the pitcher and say, hey, if you're on the rubber ready to pitch, go for it.
Well, and that rule is in place.
It is.
It's already at 12 seconds. 12 seconds.
Uh-huh.
That rule's in place. All they have to do is get the umpires to enforce it, and it would speed the games up immeasurably.
Mm-hmm.
That the umpires won't enforce it because players would raise a stink, and you got the inmates running the asylum.
You're supposed to, as a hitter, you're supposed to keep 1 foot in the batter's box.
Right.
That's
right.
part of it.
Right.
But then what happens when when you've got runners on base? Wow. Another hand. You've got runners on base, and you're getting signals from the third base coach.
Yeah, I guess the umpire has to use some common sense if the guy's looking down at third base for a sign. But in that particular case, with nobody on base, it seems like something he could enforce.
Gregorio Petit got a pretty good look at that fastball.
That could have hit him in a lot of places worse than where it did. Man, that's some athletic ability to avoid being drilled on that one.
That's a semi-undress pitch. Wow. No, 1 on, 1 out. And Jonathan Villar fouls back that first pitch.
I think it scared him more than it hurt him.
I don't blame him.
Well, that's part of the intent.
Yeah, I think the worst part of getting hit is the anticipation of the last 40 feet that the ball's coming. You know it's going to hit you. You're just waiting to see exactly where and how much it's going to hurt. Then occasionally guys yell out before it even hits them.
Yeah. I've seen a couple guys try and catch it, put their hand down. I'm like, hey.
Well, that's always been like a dream of mine, is to know that the guy's going to throw at you and somehow be able to reach out and catch it and then put it in your other hand and chase the pitcher and throw it back at him while he's running away. Obviously, it's a dream. I mean,
yes.
it's a dream. It's not going to happen. But if you could pull that off, it would be the highlight of all time. There's no way the pitcher's going to stand there if you're running at him to throw the ball, and you're going to be mad enough to where you're going to throw it. My other dream is to be sitting up here doing the game and have a foul ball come right back, catch it, and then throw it back to the pitcher before the umpire can get him the ball.
I know that's a dream.
Well, it would have to be Old Tiger Stadium.
If you tried to do that, I could buy you catching the ball. I could see that happen. You try to throw it back out there.
Well, maybe I could throw it to the catcher.
Your arm would fall off.
Well, maybe I could throw it to a fan in front of me, and he could throw it.
Get a relay person down here.
Hey, throw this down there. Yeah.
Set up a series of cutoff people.
Be right there with that subluxing shoulder.
Yep. Double play grounder on 2 hops. Odor to Andrus and back to Rua. Thank you very much. That takes care of the hit batter. Nothing going for the Astros. We played half the ball game tonight. It's the Rangers nothing and the Astros nothing. Comes up tomorrow night. The Rangers play the A's in the first of 4, and the first 15,000 fans 14 and over get a Yu Darvish jersey, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. Get your tickets for the last giveaway night of the year tomorrow night. TexasRangers.com is the place to grab them. Back to Dreamland.
All right, your turn, Buzz.
Dream Crusher.
Max says he can't talk about his dreams.
No, we can't. We don't want to get in there. No.
I'm living my dream.
There you go.
It's pretty bad. Daniel Robertson takes a strike. It is 0-1. Daniel sacrifice bunt, his first time up there. Robertson, the number 9 man on the Ranger order tonight, as Feldman throws a sinker low and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Daniel, a .273 average. Feldman back to him. Fouled into and out of the glove of Jason Castro. It is 1-2. Daniel 3 for his last 8 times to the plate. And that followed that streak of 20 at-bats with only 2 hits for Daniel. So he's turning things around. Another one of the guys that if you had asked him in mid-April what he would think about getting about 300 at-bats to the big leagues this year, he'd say, are you kidding?
Yeah, that would be a who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of dreams, that it would have been, he would have had to have felt it would have been right there with it.
Well, when Daniel got called up, he said, oh, good, I'm glad to join the Rangers. I like Round Rock.
Yeah.
The AAA team.
Right.
No, we got you to come to the big leagues.
2-2. Got him swinging. Feldman going up with that cut fastball a little bit quicker. And he gets his 4th strikeout of the night. What a way back to the top of the order for Leonis Martin. Before Leonis gets in, let's take time for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's John Radigan. Would have been better served, not taking a chance on hurting his arm. He was not going to throw out Leonis Martin no matter what. Martin with his 16th bunt base hit of the year, aboard with 1 out.
That's one of his best right there. That might have been a bunt hit, even if the third baseman was, well, he was kind of playing even with the bag, but not all the way in. Might as well just hang on to that one.
Yeah, there's no chance. When you're playing over that, trying to take that hole away, and you've got to come towards the line, that means you're running at an impossible angle. Look at that. There's no way.
Where do you have to be positioned so that the guy can't beat out a bunt? How far in?
If I'm playing third base and Leonis is up, I might be about 3 or 4 steps off the line and on the cut of the grass, right at the cut of the grass. Because if he's gonna bunt it towards shortstop, I have a better chance of going to my left and getting it and throwing him out than I do of the way that he came in there. Petit came in trying to make that play there.
If he has to go to his right, then it's pretty tough.
There's no way. There's no way, especially with where he put it in. Even if I'm in that far, he's probably going to make it. That was an excellent bunt.
And there's a base hit down the left field line by Elvis. Headed toward the corner and into the corner. Here comes Leonis around third. He will score. Elvis Andrus, the RBI. The Rangers take a 1-0 lead.
That's what speed does for you, and that's what bunting does for you. You see, Petit was in a little bit with Elvis up there, not, maybe expecting a bunt, and Elvis gets that sinker down and in. Perfect pitch to pull down the line, and he does it, keeps it fair. No chance, right over the bag. Couldn't have thrown that ball down there better than that.
No. Well, and that had to take that little hop back to the infield on the first bounce. He had that kind of spin to keep it fair. So Elvis with his 40th RBI of the year. Rangers on top now in the bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0. Mac, you were a half inning late, but that's okay. I'll forgive you this time. You got it going.
Better late than never.
Yeah, better late than never. You're right. I don't think you were quite as loose as you thought you were.
No, it might have been the mound. It was something, a little different than the bullpen.
Here's Rougned Odor with Elvis out there at second. The first pitch is in at the knees for strike 1. Odor, a perfect night so far. A double and a walk. .260 batting average. Looking to increase his RBI total, which is among the league leaders for rookies this year. 6th among American League rookies with 46 RBI. RF camera. I wonder if he bought those seats. That's pretty tall cotton he's in right there. Good look from right behind home plate. All the action right there in front of you. 1-1 pitch. Now 2-1. Dave Mamley back there.
Hey, Rudy Terrasas in a white shirt. Yep, on our right of him. Former Ranger scout. Doug Gassaway protege.
Odor pops one in foul territory. Over to take a look. Petit, but back on top of it. Nice catch. Say on top of the Astros dugout, but that gentleman right there just picked it off barehanded.
Caught it before it hit the roof of the dugout.
Watch this. He's taking that big meat hook out there and just grabbing the ball out of midair.
See how easy that was? Now I can play this game.
How do you do that?
I do it with a glove.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like an athlete. He's probably played ball before.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Odor. Got him swinging.
Yeah, there's the cutter right where he wanted to throw it. Even Rubnet, as well as he's been hitting.
The fifth strikeout for Scott Feldman tonight. 2 gone. Adrian Beltre now will step up. And that's a perfect look at location on that cut fastball and what it does to hitters.
Modern technology, huh?
Got a witness. And Beltre, as we talked about this time of year, even with the Astros not in contention for anything, still like to win a ball game, and they're not going to let Adrian Beltre do any further damage to him in this inning. It'll be up to Jake Smolinski if the Rangers are to score more in this frame. They've taken a 1-0 lead. And Beltre getting the 4th wide. He was going to take a swat at that if it was close. No, 1st and 2nd now with 2 away. Smolinski coming up. Jake tonight has grounded a short and struck out. Smolinski coming off a 3-hit night last night. Tom Lawless taking a real gamble walking Adrian Beltre to face a guy that had 3 hits last night and hitting 360 plus.
Playing a hunch.
Playing a hunch. Going with the gut.
Yep.
We'll see how it works out for him. Feldman's first pitch on the way. 0-1. First 19 games for a hitter since 2011. Jake Smolinski with 26 and Yasiel Puig 31. Josh Rutledge a couple of years ago had 27. That's pretty good company that Jake Smolinski finds himself in. 0-1. Just off the outer edge. 1 ball and 1 strike. Remember when Jake first got to the big leagues, he had 8 hits in his first 4 ball games at the big league level. That's a Rangers club record. That's what you call making a good first impression. Elvis going to third, and the pitch is grounded foul outside third. Now, Ranger fans will remember that Scott Feldman doesn't often alter that high leg kick that he has. A big, lanky guy at 6'7", and takes him a while to unwind to home plate. Almost impossible with good base runners aboard to keep them from stealing if they are so inclined. A couple of guys that run the bases pretty well there. Altuve and Andrews. Most allowed in the American League this year. Scott Feldman, 32, a 10 stolen base advantage over Jared Weaver, who has the second most. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would imagine Jared Weaver has given up a bunch of those to Ranger base stealers.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Seems like that every time the Rangers see the Angels, they get down in the starting blocks and start running. Of course, Weaver, it's a little tough to steal first.
That's true. But it's a lot of fun when you've got a pitcher-catcher combination that you know the pitcher can't hold you, and the catcher can't throw you out. That's when it's fun.
1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Big sweeper breaking ball, and that'll do it for the Rangers. Feldman ends up striking out the side, but the Rangers take the lead. They get a run on 2 hits and lead 2. We're going on to the 6th inning. Rangers 1, Astros 0. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. Now, Rangers have given Luis Alberto Bonilla a 1-0 lead with which to work as he heads out for the top of the 6th inning. He will face the top of the Astros order. Bobby Grossman, Jose Altuve, and Jake Marisnick, the first 3 scheduled to face Bonilla. Luis Alberto, 77 pitches through the first 5 innings. Had a couple of relatively quick innings of late. That has cut his pitch count back down to a manageable level. Grossman has been aboard both times this evening. A single and a walk. Takes strike 1. Last time up, Grossman singled and stole second. Tried to score on a 2-out single by Marisnick, and he was cut down at the plate on a great throw by Leonis Martin. That pitch is high. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Bonilla back to the plate. Drops in that off-speed pitch.
The way that Martin charged that ball and got rid of it was pretty remarkable. When he threw the ball, he wasn't that deep. But how quickly he caught the ball and released it was pretty amazing. And then to be able to throw it that accurately.
Yeah, we've become accustomed to seeing a laser come out of that right arm, but
yeah,
boy, the quickness that he got rid of that ball and the one-hop strike to Taylor's just remarkable. 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. For the first time tonight, Grossman got a little bit wild on the hack at Luis Alberto Bonilla, and that is strikeout number 6. Now, Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery, and we're talking about that throw. Jake Marisnick, the base hit. Here comes Leonis. Watch this thing. Right there. That is about as freaky fast as any Jimmy John's delivery right there.
I don't think there's anyone else that can do that.
Not that quickly and not that accurate.
No.
And I think that's really the big thing right there, being quick, having a strong arm, and being accurate. There are a lot of outfielders that have two, sometimes, well, 1 or 2 of those. Very few have all 3. You've got some guys that have really strong arms, but they have no idea where it's going.
Right.
They may not have a quick release. Strong and accurate, but they've got a slow release. But Martin possesses all 3 of those, and that's outstanding. And what I like about it is he's going to get better. Now his assists will probably go down because people will eventually stop running. They'll stop testing him.
Yeah. Now we've seen that happen just this year from last year.
Right. They had to go on that one. That was like a softly hit ball to center field with 2 outs and the runners running, and it was Grossman. He can run. That was just amazing. I didn't think there was any way he had a chance to throw him out at the plate.
Altuve tomahawking that next pitch foul, and that's way out of play down the left side.
Well, Bonilla tonight has been tough to hit, just like he has in his first 2 starts. Coming into the game, he'd only given up 9 hits in 14 innings, a 176 average. He's only given up 4 hits tonight. Big difference is he's only walked 1 batter. His percentage of strikes is not that great. He's thrown 86 pitches, 87 pitches, 45 strikes, and 42 balls. But he's only walked 1 batter. He's had some 3-2 counts. And the thing he's been able to do is throw his changeup or his breaking ball whenever he wants to and get most of his strikeouts with off-speed pitches.
He couldn't get a swing from Altuve there, and the 1-out walk puts the league's leading base stealer aboard. Carrying the tying run, Mike Maddox will make the slow walk out to the mound. Give Robbie Ross an opportunity to continue loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Well, the second walk of the night issued by Luis Alberto Bonilla. And checking that middle finger, Mike Maddox may be dealing with a blister problem.
Didn't look like Luis Alberto wanted him to look at it. No. He just pulled his hand away and said, "I'm okay." Well, the other way to look at it, it's his last start of the season, so plenty of time for that blister to heal.
Well, a few smiles, so leaving on a positive note. Mike Maddox back to the Ranger dugout. Well, Bonilla now with Altuve at first, and you can bet that Altuve is going to steal at the first opportunity, or attempt to steal anyway. Jake Marisnick, a hitter, 1 out of 2 tonight.
I would have to say he's got to go first or second pitch.
He kind of looks at base running like he does hitting. He's not going to wait very long. And, Bonilla will just let him know he's thinking about him. 54 stolen bases for Altuve. His percentage has gone down a little bit as the season's gone on. 54 out of 63. 9 caught stealing this year. He's staying put. And the pitch is taken for a strike with Marisnick showing bunt. That brought Beltre down the line from third. Stolen base leaders in the American League. Jacoby Ellsbury, 15 behind Altuve. Gerard Dyson at 36. Altuve on the move. He had a huge jump. Throw to second, not nearly in time. And Altuve in with stolen base number 55.
He was going before Bonilla ever made his move to the plate. In fact, got such a big jump, it looked like he almost stopped. He was uncomfortable with his jump.
He goes over, he's got it. Treated that almost like a left-hander. He went first move.
Yeah.
So the tying run in scoring position, 1 away. Count of no balls and 2 strikes to Marisnick. And Altuve is going to third. There will be no throw. 2 pitches, 2 stolen bases. Now Altuve 90 feet away with the tying run. Tomas Daly's had to worry about keeping the ball around home plate, keeping it from going to the backstop. He wasn't worried about throwing him out once that pitch was in the dirt. Rangers now pull the infield all the way in. 1-2, the count to Marisnick. Got him swinging.
Oh, man.
Boy, you talk about getting tied up.
One thing you like about that pitch, too, he's thrown 92 pitches, and he knows he's in a tough spot right there. That was his best velocity of the day, 94 miles an hour. It might have been his best movement of the day, too. Look at that thing go down.
There's no chance to hit that. If he hits that, he's going to hurt himself because he's going to hit it off his knee.
That was something.
Some movement there.
No, 7 strikeouts for Bonilla. Rangers now go back to a normal depth. And, Chris Carter got a hanging off-speed pitch and swung through it. Carter 0 for 2. He has struck out both times that he's faced Bonilla tonight. Carter now with 178 strikeouts this year. Chops one to third. Beltre across the diamond on the money, and that will do it. Nice job by Bonilla and the Rangers to work around a runner at third with 1 man out. After 5.5, it's the Rangers 1, the Astros nothing. time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,600 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Chris Metzler from Plano. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Chris Metzler from Plano will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. The Rangers maintaining a 1-0 lead. Tomas Taylor starting off, and the first pitch from Scott Feldman is high and outside for ball one. Taylor's 0 for 2. He reached via an error his last time up. Also fly to center. Little blooper back of third, and Petit going away, able to make the grab for out number one as Feldman got that cutter right in on the fist of Tomas Taylor.
First baseman Ryan Rua.
Taylor used to go back to the dugout, and guys will be asking, you want a little peanut butter with that jam? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, they might wait. He might be a little bit upset when he first gets back to the dugout. You got to kind of gauge that.
That's going to stop some people.
Might not with a rookie, but let's put it this way: they might not do it to Adrian Beltre.
No, you're probably right about that. Ryan Rua 0 for 1, hit by a pitch and a strikeout tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rangers just 3 hits tonight, but they put 2 of them together in the 5th inning for their run. And Leonis Martin 1 out single, a bunt single, and then the run scoring double by Elvis Andrus. 1-2. Let's go down and check in with Emily.
Well, guys, so a process that started on the last road trip was the exit interview process, where Tim Bogar and his staff meets with each individual player. And among the items of discussion was what each guy is going to do in the offseason. And so playing winter ball, not playing winter ball, different things like that. Those things have yet to be determined, whether it be position players or pitchers. But I would be curious to hear you guys' thoughts on the benefits of that, especially considering the experience that these guys have gained in this season and continuing that, the necessary or the need for it in the offseason.
Judging from the last 2 jam shots, I don't think they have enough bats to play winter ball.
I don't think that bat even broke.
It may not have.
Yikes.
And that's a very good point. And, with younger players, I think playing as much as you get an opportunity to play is big. I don't think anybody that has come to the big leagues that has been a rookie or a second-year player, for that matter, has been overtaxed by this year. If you feel like some extra at-bats would be beneficial in November and December, I'd go down to winter ball and get them.
Yeah, I think so, especially the guys that came from Double-A. They need to go down and see some more competition that's above the Double-A level. Mm-hmm. Even though they've been here, they still need to see that so they can get, more at-bats or more innings pitched. But I think it's an important thing. But you have to be careful, especially with pitchers. You don't want them throwing too much.
Times have changed. Back in the 70s, I went to winter ball 5 times, and on several occasions there was as many as 10 or 11 players from the Ranger organization on the same team. And I didn't get 500 or 600 at bats in the big leagues, but Toby Harrod did, and most of our teammates that were Venezuelan did. Cesar Tovar, Vic Davalillo, Manny Trillo, Baudilio Diaz, Tony Armas. Those guys played every single game down there. They ended up with 280 at bats in winter ball after playing every day in the big leagues. So you went and you played back then, and you got to spring training. You had a few weeks off, and you went and played, and we didn't feel tired. That was what you did. And for some of us, when you're making the minimum salary back then, we did it to get experience playing, but also because you needed the money.
Sure.
That's been eliminated now with the minimum salary at $500,000. The young guys, they don't need the money. They don't need to go to winter ball, for a job. We needed to have a job in the offseason. But I don't know anybody that played a full season and then went to winter ball. And we went to winter ball and played opening day, stayed through Thanksgiving, stayed through Christmas, stayed through New Year's, played in the playoffs. And we never thought anything about being tired back then. We were 23, 25 years old. The more we could play, the more we liked it. Nowadays, you know, a guy gets 400 at-bats in the big leagues, and, well, we'll let him go to winter ball, but we don't want him to get more than 25 innings or 75 at-bats. You know, times have changed. I thought the guys were supposed to be bigger, stronger, in better shape right now than they ever were, but you never know it.
There goes Sardinius. The throw down to second on a bounce and safely in ahead of the tag by Altuve. Luis Sardinius with his 4th stolen base after the 2-out single gets himself in scoring position.
Nice jump by Sardinius. He gets a really good jump. Castro comes up firing, and the throw, if it had been up, probably would have got him, it looks like.
Glove got down there and slapped the tag on, but there was no ball in it. 0-1 pitch to Daniel Robertson. It's low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to say last night. Tags have changed over the years. I remember first basemen used to, especially left-handed first baseman, get that ball in the web and whack your hand if you're, coming back in there trying to slide in there.
Absolutely.
And the same thing going into second base. You try and get that guy's ankle as good as you possibly could.
Sardinius going to third. The throw is high, and Luis pulling an Jose Altuve.
Hey, we got one of those guys too.
Right.
I think, you've already said it, Buzz and Mac. The game plan in this game is anytime you've got a guy that can run on base with Scott pitching, you're going to go. It doesn't matter if there's 2 outs and a man on second. Feel like you can steal the base, you're better off taking it. And he's going to be slow to the plate. You're going to take the stolen bases.
2-1 now. The count to Robertson with Sardinius just 90 feet away. Daniel bluffing a bunt, takes the breaking ball. It's 3 balls and a strike. Well, Robertson trying to extend this inning. If he gets aboard, Leonis Martin, the leadoff hitter, would come up for his 4th at bat.
Buzz, you're talking about playing winter ball. To me, one of the biggest benefits of going to winter ball and staying there for the whole season is the learning experience of playing in a different country and having the pressure of important games, because the baseball that you play in Venezuela, that you play in the Dominican Republic, those games are just as big to the people there as our games are to us here. Yeah. And you feel the pressure. You don't perform down there, they'll get rid of you after about a week. So you go down there and there's pressure every game, and then you get to the playoffs and the stands are packed and they're yelling and screaming and playing music, and the pressure that you face down there is a great learning experience for the big leagues.
Outside, ball 4, runners at the corners. And we'll see now if Tom Lawless is going to go to the left-hander Sip. He has him warmed up in the bullpen, or at least he had gotten up. Got the left-hander, Leonis Martin, coming to the plate. And Brent Strong, the pitching coach, is going to go out and apparently relay a message.
We were playing in Maracaibo. Rich Billings was our player manager at the time, and there's about 10 Rangers on the team. And after 4 games, I think I was 3 for 16. And they had a cartoon in the paper of a baseball player walking up the ramp with 1 foot on an airplane and 1 foot on the ramp. And it said, Tom Grieve, will he stay or will he go? That was after 4 games.
3 for 16.
Going 3 for 16.
Oh, wow. I think my first time in Puerto Rico, I think I lasted a week, maybe a week, and they're gone.
They don't have any patience.
None.
Oh, you talk about sending guys back. From what I had heard, that sometimes is the kindest thing they can do if you don't perform.
Let's put it this way. You learn how to play under pressure there, boy. I love playing there.
The Rangers a chance to get some insurance. Leonis Martin up there takes the breaking ball. Low and in for ball 1.
The owner of our team in Maracaibo one day came up to Rich Billings, and he said to him, Richard, what do you think of Oscar Gamble? And Rich said, well, he's a good ball player. He'd be a pretty good addition to the team. And the owner goes, good. Oscar, come here. He was already there. He was waiting at the end of the dugout.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Daniel Robertson setting sail for second, and no throw. He will be in with an uncontested stolen base. Rangers' fourth stolen base of the night, and the third in this inning.
We made the playoffs for the first time in Maracaibo, first time they'd ever won the playoffs. And when the plane landed in Maracaibo, there was 40 to 50,000 people at the airport. They parked their cars on the road leading to the airport, so there's no way you could get down the road and out of the airport. And my wife was at the airport with our first child, who was about maybe 4 months old, waiting in the corner, wedged in a corner, crying. And we're trying to figure out what in the world we're going to do. And Cookie Rojas was on our team, and he had a friend there who had a Jeep. And the friend knew how to get out of the airport the back way and avoid the road. And Cookie said, come with me. And he took my wife and I and our child with him in this Jeep. And we snuck out the back of the airport to get back to where we live. But it was incredible. The experiences down there, all of us that played down there, all the Ranger players. Well, every time we get together, we talk about it.
Broken bat roller out to second, and Altuve on to first. That'll do it. Rangers get a hit, but strand two. They'll go to the seventh inning with a 1-0 lead. Mac, thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the ball game on Rangers Live.
All right.
Again on top in this one. Luis Alberto Bonilla, 6 shutout innings with just 2 walks, a career high 7 strikeouts. He blanked the Astros through the first 6. Elvis Andrus plating the only run of the ball game thus far, an RBI double, scoring Leonis Martin. That was in the 5th inning. Luis Alberto's night has come to an end as Robbie Ross has come out of the Ranger bullpen, and he will take over for inning number 7.
Yeah, Buzz, we're talking about winter ball, not to expand on it too much, but just to kind of finish that story. When the plane finally stopped, it didn't have like a indoor tunnel to walk through. You had to walk down to the runway and then walk into the terminal. But there was not security back then, obviously. So many people were on the tarmac right next to the plane that as the players got off the plane, you never touched the tarmac. They just picked the players up on the top of their crowd and kind of passed you along until you got down to the ground and to walk into the terminal. It was something that you almost had to see to believe. It looked like the people were on the runway while the plane was landing. They didn't even keep them away from there.
Ross working to Jesus Guzman, the pinch hitter for Mark Krause. And Robbie comes back with a strike. It's 3-1. Guzman, 189 average, 2 home runs, 9 driven in.
In fact, there was a baby born the night that we clinched the playoffs, and they had the picture in the paper the next day. The last name was Palmar, Palmar, and they named the baby Richard Billings Palmar after Rich, who was the Aguila de Oro, the Golden Eagle. He was our most valuable player, and they named their baby after him. I'm dying to go back there 40 years later and see Richard Billings.
Well, Robbie Ross struggling a bit with his command. He lost Guzman on the 3-1 pitch, and now dealing to Jason Castro. Castro 0 for 2 tonight. Line drive to right, a ground ball to first. Ross a check of first. And misses low. It's 2 balls and no strikes, and Tomas Daly's going to make a quick visit out to the mound. Well, Robbie had 7 pitches thus far. Only 1 has been in the strike zone, and Phil Klein, right-hander, starting to loosen in that Ranger bullpen. Now, Bonilla, 6 shutout innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Robbie Ross now trying to work around a leadoff walk to Guzman. Robbie had a couple of appearances on the just completed road trip. Did a very good job, and last time out against the Angels. There's a foul back to the screen. Gave up a run in that ball game, but it was in 3 hits in an 18-pitch inning. Castro waiting for the 2-1 pitch. It's on the inside corner, 2-2. Castro complaining to Seth Buckminster, the home plate umpire. Thought that pitch was inside. And our pitch tracker, our Chevy pitch tracker, said no, it was not. It was right there. It was a strike.
Felt like a ball, but it looked like a strike.
Robbie a check of first, the 2-2. Now full count. Well, Castro hitting 6th in the order. He'll be followed by the right-handed hitting Alex Presley. A 1-0 Ranger lead. Ross with a payoff pitch instead. Goes first base way to drive Guzman back. Ranger infield swung maybe a couple of steps around to the right. Ned Odor up a couple at double play depth and shading toward the hole. Now the payoff pitch. We'll try it again after that foul ball. Robbie pretty much staying on top the pitching rubber, rubbing up that new baseball, and now the left-hander looking in for a sign. Set for another 3-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Castro making it a little difficult on Robbie Ross. Castro 1 for 3 against Robbie in their previous matchups. That one, however, a home run. Again, a little toss to first. Ryan Rua holding the bag against Jesus Guzman. Good shot from our wedgie cam out there. Right down the right field line. 3-2. Yank foul. Robbie pulling the string, but left it up. And Castro able to get the bat to it. And Castro getting set to step back in for the 9th pitch of this at bat. Ross nods in agreement and sets. Double play ground ball to Odor. Going away, the throw, not in time. Odor had a long way to go to the bag and couldn't get there in time to take the feed from Andrews and stop himself. He tried to run toward shortstop as he crossed the bag and get an off-balance throw away. Couldn't get enough on it to complete the double play.
You're right, Buzz. He came sprinting across the bag and couldn't stop. Not sure exactly. I wish Mac was here to analyze that play. Not exactly sure what happened. He didn't look like he got his weight under control around the bag to keep from running past the bag like that. But not being a second baseman, it's tough for me to say. That's a good one for Mac to analyze. Either that or he got his feet mixed up, stepped on the base with the wrong foot.
Well, in any event, that's a double play that could have been but wasn't. Well, 1 on, 1 out with Castro now taking the place of Guzman at first base. And Alex Presley, who has an infield hit in 2 trips, will step in. Presley, a .251 average. And he takes that first Robbie Ross Jr. offering for strike 1. Robbie gets the sign, a check of first, and a chopper up the middle. This by the bag at second. Elvis takes it himself, and this time the double play is completed. That was a 6-3 on the double play.
Good move by Robbie. Went to catch it, let it go, and it turned into an easy double play.
Well, 3 up, 3 down, thanks to the double play. And we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Rangers by 1. AT&T fan photo selection of the night. Again, thanks to the good folks at AT&T for making this possible. Tonight's photo comes from Melissa. Melissa, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. And for all you folks who would like to tweet your photos, it's hashtag Southwest Fan Photo. We'll make a selection for each of the next several games that are on Fox Sports Southwest. Well, during the half inning, Tom, you were talking about that play that was not made on the double play, and Adrian Beltre having a little discussion with Rougned Odor about how that should have transpired. Well, a veteran taking charge.
Watch what he does. Maybe he's going to show us. Get his weight under control, slow down maybe.
Yep.
That's the best teacher right there, one of your teammates. Coaches are great, but when you hear it from a veteran on the team and one of your teammates, that really strikes home. And Boo's going to play a little second base in addition to third base. He's going to kind of reinforce what Adrian was saying.
Now that's the leadership, the veteran leadership that has been fostered here for a number of years under Ron Washington and encouraged. And Adrian Beltre is continuing that. And it's great to see, because that, I agree with you, Tom. That's the best way for young players to learn is on-the-job training from guys who are doing alongside of them.
Yeah.
Jose Veras, the veteran right-hander, on to start the bottom of the seventh. Elvis Andrus leading things off.
Jose Veras is on for the Astros, doing a nice job for the Astros. 4-0 record in 32 games, but he's 4-0. Good ERA, good opponent's batting average. A lot of strikeouts.
Elvis 1 for 3. He has driven in the only Ranger run, the only run of the game so far. His RBI double. Jesus Guzman, who pinch hit. Or Mark Krause stays in the ball game and playing first base. Veras, the 33-year-old out of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. 2-0 pitch. And that is outside. 3 balls and no strikes. Well, Elvis trying to get aboard here to start the Rangers seventh. Rougned Odor, the second baseman, waits to be next. Veras to the plate. And fires a strike, 3-1. Elvis, 9 at bats against Veras, make that 10 plate appearances. He's 3 for 9 with a walk. He's had a triple against the big right-hander. Ahead of the count here. And he grounds one to short. Villar on to Guzman. That is out number 1. And Rougned Odor will be next, but let's take time right here for a Mazda game break. Here's John Radigan.
Second baseman, Rougned Odor.
All right, John, thank you.
Kansas City loses, then Detroit takes a 2-game lead on them for the Central Division Championship with 4 games to go, I assume, for each team. And again, we talked about it, and most people already know this, but there's a huge advantage to winning the division and not being the wild card team. You get to wait and play the first round of the playoffs, and the 2 wild card teams have a 1-game playoff to see who gets into the regular playoffs, kind of a play-in game. You have to expend all your energy, your best players, your best pitcher to win that game, so that when you enter the playoffs against another rested team who set its pitching staff, you're at a little bit of a disadvantage. But I think that's designed that way. Many times the wild card team, there was no difference between being the wild card team and a division champion when you came to the playoffs. And a lot of wild card teams won the World Series. So I think the goal was to obviously get more teams involved in the playoffs, more fans watching their team battle for a division spot or a playoff spot in September, but also make it more difficult for the wild card team to get to the World Series.
Rougned Odor, a high drive, deep right field. That is Presley. Goodbye. Rougned Odor with his 9th home run of the year. The Rangers lead it 2-0.
Every game, Rougned just reinforces what we've said about him during the game and the pregame shows and the open to the show. Every time we highlight him, we're talking about how strong he's finishing, the force he's becoming. And he made a little bit of mistake not turning a double play. Steps up to the plate right off the bat and goes deep. Makes everybody forget about that double play. Got a double in the ball game and now a home run. He's also walked in the ball game. Got his average up over 260 now.
379 feet on the 9th home run of the year. And Barris comes high and tight to Adrian Beltre.
Got a pitch right in the middle of the plate. And there it goes.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tom, you bring up, that you didn't let that bother you. How many times have you seen young players get a little scolding, a little talking to, and all of a sudden they're out of the game for a couple of innings.
Put their head between their legs and pout about it. You also see young players kind of fight that kind of criticism and, you know, argue back or turn their back and not be receptive, but he just sat there and listened and went up to the plate and said, there, I understand what you were saying. Now, how about that one?
Yeah.
Let's see you guys do that.
Yeah, I think saying that the game doesn't faze him is going a little bit overboard, but he goes about his business the right way. He's got the right attitude about things.
Sure does.
3-0 the count to Beltre. Adrian intentionally walked his last time. 0 for 2 tonight. And the green light on 3-0 and fouled it straight back. And Wilder Rodriguez right there next to Rougned Odor. Of course, we know the story about Wilder being the mentor for both Rougned Odor and Luis Sardinas. They got an opportunity here on Monday night to play in the same infield, starting and playing the entire game, the three of them. 3-1 to Adrian. Outside, ball 4. And Beltre aboard for the second straight time. And let's go down and visit with Emily Jones again, yeah?
Well, guys, you were talking about Rougned Odor and his, receptiveness to criticism, and it is something we don't see, I think, enough of, is how guys are able to take that, especially young players. It seems like, I don't want to sound like old lady, but that a little bit of that is, passed us by, and so many come up so, I don't want to say entitled, but feeling like they're owed something. And, when you have a guy like Adrian Beltre that can offer insight and so much good feedback, it's nice to see a young player that has been highly touted and a lot was expected of them, receptive to the teachings of those who know more than he does, and he's perfectly willing to accept that and take it and move on. And I think it's a neat thing that we don't see enough of.
Yeah, I think you could have said entitled and been perfectly right on the bunny, to be quite honest. That's how I would put it with some guys. You get to the big leagues, it's called big league-itis. And you get there and you figure, I've made it now and I don't have to do anything else.
Some guys get to the big leagues with big league-itis.
Yeah.
Some people develop it. Unfortunately, some people never get it.
Most often the guys that hang around and are productive and are on good ball clubs don't have that problem.
No.
I have a chat now with Ferris and Jason Castro going out there.
Yeah, it's definitely not necessarily the best players who have big league-itis.
Right.
And that's why it's kind of an annoying trait to have. Sometimes it's a mediocre player who has the big league-itis and causes everybody to think, why in the world is he acting like that? What's he ever done? But I don't think you see a lot of big league-itis on the Rangers. I haven't noticed it anyway.
Pitch to Jake Smolinski, and he fouls that pitch back right below us.
That's about as close as we've had one all year.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last one we had up here. It had to be 4 or 5 years ago. In fact, in the 20 years that I've been doing this, I can only remember maybe 2 or 3 balls that got this far back here. We're so far back. They just don't come up this way very often.
Veras with the 2-1 pitch. Low and outside, 3-1. Jake Smolinski trying to get aboard for the first time in his evening tonight. He struck out twice and grounded out. Tomas Taillys waits to be next. 1 on, 1 out, 1 across for the Rangers. They lead 2-0 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Beltre a modest lead at first as Veras sets. And the pitch is high, ball 4. Back-to-back walks following the Odor home run. 2 on and 1 out. And Taillys coming up. Brent Strom going back out to the mound. Jose Veras, guy that over the years has been very effective in whatever relief role he was asked to pitch in. Folks, while we have a second here, we'd like to remind you the last chance to catch a post-game fireworks show is this Friday. That's September the 26th. After the game against the A's that evening, fans will be treated to a spectacular fireworks show thanks to our friends at Big Green Egg and Capital Distributing. $15 tickets in the upper reserved seating sections are available at TexasRangers.com/specials by using the coupon code fireworks. Very comfortable evening, 78 degrees as we play here in the 7th inning. The night started out at 82, and it has remained maybe a little muggier tonight than it had been the last couple nights, but still very pleasant. Tomas Taillys stepping in. Runners at first and second. Jose Veras with the first pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, there's nobody throwing in the Astros bullpen, so this is Veras' inning.
That's the manager's way of saying you better start throwing strikes. 19 pitches, 6 strikes, and 13 balls. One of the strikes went 380 feet.
And now there's some stirring around out there in left center field. Maybe after the horse has been out of the barn for a while. Taillys tonight reached on an error back in the 4th inning. Other than that, has flied to center and popped to third. 1-0 pitch coming from Veras. Off speed and Taillys out in front. Jorge De Leon, right-hander, up and loosening relatively quickly in that bullpen for the Astros. Rangers 2 runs on 5 hits tonight. Astros no runs on 4 hits. Reached for and rounded just foul outside the bag at first. Guzman trying to charge that and get it before it went into foul territory, but could not, so Beltre will head back to second base and back to first. Smolinski. Rangers, for the first time in what seems like eons, have won 9 out of 10 ball games, or 10 out of 11, excuse me. You got to go back to a year ago, August, last time they had a similar streak of winning 10 of 11. August 1st through the 12th of 2013. Breaking ball, backdoor called, strike 3. And it's a pitch that Taillys had not seen in that at bat, and he got a long look at it. Bent in over the outside corner.
That's a good pitch. And as a hitter, it's a very difficult pitch to contend with. A hard breaking curveball that just finds the outside corner. We talked about Veras having a nice season in spite of the home run that he's given up today. But he's had a nice season, and coming into the game, he pitched, let's see how many innings he pitched. 30 innings and struck out 36 batters. So that's not the first guy he struck out this year. Probably not the first time he struck someone out with that same pitch.
And Ryan Rua gets a look at it on the first pitch and hangs inside to him. 1 ball, no strikes. Rua 0 for 2. Hit by a pitch in the fourth. That was sandwiched in between a strikeout and a tapper back to the mound. Rangers at .245 average with runners in scoring position. Tonight, no luck yet. 0 for 9. 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. I tell you, though, the Rangers of late have done a very good job in these situations. Last 11 games, they've hit .337 with runners in scoring position. That's allowed them to score 59 runs over the previous 11 games. 5.5 runs per game. The 2-0 pitch. High fly ball, well hit to left field. Going back is Grossman, looking up at the wall. Goodbye. Ryan Rua with his second big league home run. A 3-run blast. It is 5-0 Rangers.
Well, the young guys keep doing things to be very, very impressive in September. Ryan had the game winner in Anaheim and kind of puts the icing on the cake in this ball game with that home run. Boy, the Rangers very difficult on Jose Veras tonight, a guy that came into the game with pretty good numbers, but they've lit him up this inning. Took advantage of a couple of walks. Ryan gets a high fastball inside half of the plate, and there it goes.
Jose Veras realizing as he watched that one go out that he would probably be gone from the ball game along with that home run by Ryan Rua. Tom Lawless out to take the ball from the big right-hander. He makes the call to the bullpen, and so we'll have a pitching change here at Globe Life Park. Rangers leading 5-0. We'll be back after this timeout on Fox Sports Southwest.
Bottom 7, 2 outs with the Rangers on top by a score of 5-0 as we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. And it has come to this, the final series of the season, which kicks off tomorrow against the Oakland A's. A 4-game set. A couple of the principals in this one who are very hot against their respective opponents. Rougned Odor, Derek Norris looking to continue their big batting ways tomorrow as they open up a 4-game set here in Arlington, right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Of course, all this brought to you by AT&T Uverse, guys.
All right, Emily, thank you. Jorge De Leon summoned from the Astros bullpen to face Luis Sardinas.
De Leon's numbers, he's only pitched in 5 games, 4 2/3 innings. Hitter's been a little bit tough on him early in his big league time.
De Leon worked here on Monday night, worked 2/3 of an inning. And Sardinius swing and a miss. The count moves to 1-2. Luis tonight a walk and a single in 3 trips, so 1 for 2 officially, a .266 batting average. He's getting the start at DH here tonight. Rangers have put a 4 spot on the board here in the 7th. They've opened up a 5-0 lead. Out of play to the left, still 1-2. Crowd of just over 28,000 on hand here tonight, 28,003 to be exact. Ryan Rua, his second big league home run, a 3-run blast. And that has put an exclamation point on this 7th inning. Sardini's walking around trying to figure out why in the world he swung at that last pitch. A little bit high. De Leon accepts the sign. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Five runs on 6 hits now for the Rangers. No runs on 4 hits and 1 error for the Astros. De Leon back to the plate. Got him swinging. Well, the strikeout puts an end to the 7th inning, but the Rangers put 4 on the board. Rougned Odor got it started with a solo blast. And 4 hitters later, Ryan Rua with 2 men aboard, a 3-run jolt. We'll go to the 8th inning, 5-0 Rangers.
The game. You got to give it to Mallory. A big night for Mallory, and she decided to bring 30 of her closest friends to Globe Life Park. Why, Mallory? Why?
Well, tonight is my 26th birthday. And we all thought, where else would we rather be than Globe Life Park, waiting for that Rangers win and getting those dollar hot dogs.
There you go. All right, well, congratulations. Here's the shirt. Anything else you'd like to say, Mallory?
Well, I brought a whole bunch of Aggies with me, and we're waiting for that. We're waiting for that Aggie win over the Hawks on Saturday.
Yeah, the big game on Saturday. right, congratulations, happy birthday. All right, there we go, Buzz.
All right, Noxie. That'll run the hot dog bill up. Phil Klein has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over. He becomes the third pitcher used tonight by Tim Bogart. And the first pitch to Gregorio Petit is in for a strike. Petit hit by a pitch his last time up. Lined out to center field in the second inning. Klein comes in with strike two.
Phil's numbers, been in 16 ball games and pitched well. Good ERA, about an inning per game. More than a strikeout per inning, and a nice opponent's batting average of 164. Done a great job.
Klein, the 6'7" right-hander from Columbus, Ohio, and Youngstown State University. 30th round pick by the Rangers out of Youngstown State back in 2011.
Buzz, if the Rangers can hold this lead, then Luis Alberto Bonilla will be the first Ranger to ever win his first three starts, right?
Yes, he will. That's right. And that almost seems impossible to be true. You know, you think three, well, that's
someone
not very
must
many.
have done that.
But it didn't happen. There have only been 7, including Bonilla, that have won their first 2 starts consecutively. And the last one of those, I believe, was trying to remember here. I'll look it up here real fast for you. Ground ball to short. And Elvis takes care of that. And that is out number 1. Last one of those, Alexi Ogando did it.
Did he?
Yeah, back in 2011 in April. First one to do it, the guy that you were teammates with, Charlie Hudson.
Yeah, when was that, 73?
In 73, in August, his first start was August 28th, and then he had one September the 2nd in 73, and he won those 2. Paul Mirabella, Glenn Cook, Kevin Brown won his first 2. That spanned 2 years, though.
Did it?
Yeah, he won his first one in 86.
I remember the first one. He shut. I don't know if he shut him out, but he beat Dave Stewart in Oakland like 7-0 or 8-0, if I remember right.
And then the next one was 2 years later in September of 88.
Was it?
Yeah. And it took a little time in between. Julio Santana in 97. And Ogando and...
Boy, with all the guys that won 2, you would think one of them would have won 3.
0-1 pitch. That ball is hammered to right field. That is deep and gone. Villar turning on a Phil Klein fastball, and he drives it over the wedgie into the seats. And that gets the Astros on the board. It is 5-1 Rangers.
His 7th home run. Villar's got a little pop in his bat. And you could see it on that one. That ball jumped. Near the middle of the plate.
Well, Villar, home run number 7. Astros now a 4-run deficit as the top of the order comes up for the 4th time tonight. Robbie Grossman is 1 for 2. And Klein misses high, ball 1. Grossman walked to start the game tonight in the 3rd inning, then singled. Later that inning was thrown out trying to score from second on the base hit by Maristic. Great play by Leonis Martin to gun him down at the plate. And then in the 6th inning, Grossman went down swinging. All 3 of those at bats against the starter, Luis Alberto Bonilla. 2 balls, no strikes. 2-1. That snaps a streak for Phil Klein, by the way, of 6 straight scoreless outings that he'd put together. Jose Altuve waiting in the on-deck circle. He will follow Grossman to the plate. 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4. Second walk of the ninth that Grossman has coaxed. 1 on, 1 out. Altuve coming up.
Well, Grossman's got a good eye at the plate. We've talked about him this series, the last series in Houston. He's been playing well. Been getting on base a lot, hitting the ball well, showing that he can be a leadoff hitter for the Astros, and he's got to be in prime position to be that leadoff hitter for next season. The job he's done over the last month and a half. Proven to be a pretty solid hitter and a guy that's very patient with a high walk rate. Pretty much exactly what you're looking for in a leadoff hitter.
Altuve taking that first pitch high, and it had to be very high. He would have gotten up on a ladder to get that. Mike Maddox.
Well, we saw him jump the other day in a hit and run. He jumped right off the ground and fouled the ball off.
Roman Mendez getting loose in that Ranger bullpen as Mike Maddox going to go out to the mound and see if he can get Phil Klein a little sharper focus and give Mendez an opportunity to throw a few extra warm-up tosses down there. Now we're set to get back underway. Altuve into the batter's box. 1 ball, no strikes, the count to him. Grossman a short lead at first. Double play grounder. Turned by Andrus. And a 4-6-3 double play that takes care of it. Mike Maddox turning the magic as Phil Klein induces the 2 ball. A run on VR's solo home run onto the bottom of the 8th, 5-1 Rangers.
Breathing room here as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. A 5-1 lead. 5 runs on 6 hits, that is, as we get ready for Rangers Live. Presented by Esurance. John Radigan here with Mark McLemore and Pudge Rodriguez. Lots of post-game analysis as the Rangers try to keep this winning streak alive and possibly sweep the Astros right out of here. We'll have post-game reaction. Emily Jones works the clubhouse. We'll hear from Tim Pogar, who was Pudge's player to watch. It's all coming up. It's Rangers Live right after the game, guys, and it's presented by Esurance.
All right, John, thank you. Now, Rangers coming to bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Daniel Robertson to start things off against Jorge De Leon. And the first pitch is wide for ball 1. Daniel 0 for 1 officially tonight. He had a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd, a walk, and a stolen base in the 6th. In between, he struck out swinging. Left center field. Grossman moving to his left. Plenty of time to get there and capture that for out number 1.
Center fielder, Leonis Martini.
And let's take a look at the AT&T U-verse rewind. Rangers went long ball on Jose Veras. First, it was Rougned Odor with his 9th home run of the year, a solo blast. And with a couple on and 2 outs in the same inning, Ryan Ruoff, a towering 4-bagger. His 2nd Major League home run, a 3-run blast, and that was our 4-run 7th inning for the Rangers. Leonys Martin 1 for 4 tonight. He had a bunt single in the 5th inning, came around to score the first Ranger run. Fouls back the next pitch, no balls, 2 strikes. Rangers with those 2 home runs tonight have 108 for the year. Comparatively, not many home runs by Ranger standards, but this, you'll have to agree, a little bit different type of year than we're used to seeing from Ranger ball clubs. Out of play down the left side. And back into the seats. Alex Claudio, Neftali Feliz in that Ranger bullpen. I would imagine Claudio if they score a run or more, and Feliz if it remains a 4-run differential.
Yep.
Slow roller out to Altuve. 2 gone.
You know, when you look at Martin's game tonight, you'll see a guy that went 1 for 5 with a bunt single. But the kind of player he's becoming, and if you really look at it more closely, you'll see a guy that played a much bigger role than that. You look at the throw that he made to throw out Grossman at the plate, that saved a run, and you don't know what would have happened after that if the throw didn't throw out a runner at the plate and the inning continued. So that was a big play. And the bunt hit started the first rally and led to the first Ranger run. So looks like a 1 for 5 night, but did a couple of good things. 1 bunting, 1 on the bases, and then a beautiful play in the outfield.
Yeah, did what you want your guys up the middle of the diamond to do, man. Provide a defensive spark and an offensive spark.
Yep.
And an offensive spark provided by Elvis, too, as he drove home Leonys Martin with that first Ranger run. 40th run batted in this year for Elvis. Down from what he has done in the past several years, but he has started to drive in runs more efficiently of late. Takes that pitch for a strike. He has 6 RBI now in his last 9 ball games, and that after having just 2 in his previous 28. And you get a little different vantage point of Neftali Feliz and Alex Claudio working. 0-2 pitch. Call, strike 3. I think Elvis knew that. So De Leon works a 1-2-3-8. We're going to inning number 9. Looks like it will probably be Neftali Feliz to try and close things out. Rangers leading 5-1.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we
Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. By AT&T UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by your Texas Ford dealer. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event. Now playing at a Ford dealer near you. Well, we had A, B, C, or all the above. And we have all the above because Phil Klein is back out to begin the ninth inning. It was not Neftali Feliz or Alex Claudio. Klein working to Jake Marisnick, Chris Carter, and Jesus Guzman. Marisnick 1 for 3. And Klein, a good sharp breaking ball. 0-2 now. Marisnick had that soft single in the center field in that third inning that Leonis Martin picked up and fired to home to nail Robbie Grossman. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Marisnick, a .281 average. Phil Klein sets at the belt. Got him swinging.
Good job there. He did exactly what he was trying to do. Threw the slider down and away for strike 2. Taylor's put his glove up high. Threw a high pitch for a ball. And he might not have been trying to throw it up there again. It looked like he was trying to throw it in a different spot. But the high fastball turned out to be successful, and that's what counts.
Well, Phil with his first strikeout tonight, 1 away. And Chris Carter now will step to the plate. Carter 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts, a ground ball to third. Rangers again with the overshift going to the left side with 3 infielders. Beltre, Andrus, and Odor all on the third base side of the diamond. Klein back to the plate and hits the outside corner. You know, Phil Klein came in and gave up the solo home run to Jonathan Villar in the 8th inning, then gave up a walk, but got the double play off the bat of Altuve, and he has come out here firing in the 9th inning. A strikeout of Marisnick. 0-2, the count to Chris Carter. Got him swinging, couldn't check it on the breaking ball. Back-to-back strikeouts, 2 gone. And Jesus Guzman now will come to the plate to face Klein.
He didn't do anything but bury that slider down and away, right what he was trying to do. Carter could not check his swing on it.
Chris Carter with a hat check, 3 strikeouts and 4 times at the plate. There's Guzman, who walked back in the 7th inning. Came on as a pinch hitter for Mark Krause, and he takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Guzman, a 189 average. Klein's 0-1 pitch. Just a little bit low. Now Phil set once again. Good sharp breaking ball again. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He got that one slider up to VR, and since that time he's been concentrating on keeping that thing down and away, especially the right-hand hitters. They haven't had a chance to hit that thing.
Jim Bogart looking for his club to win their 6th straight here at home. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
Phil probably appreciates the opportunity to go back out for another inning after giving up the home run. Finish on a strong note. Get Guzman right here, 1-2-3 inning, and he will be finishing on a strong note.
Trying to win their 12th ball game in 18 under Tim Bogart. Just missed. I think that was one of those ones, Tom, where you talk about he couldn't hit it anyway, so he's not going to swing it.
That's what it looked like. That was a good slider. It was almost a strike. Well, yeah, definitely almost a strike. Could have been a strike. Borderline pitch. That one went Guzman's way.
3-2 with 2 outs. Klein ready. The payoff pitch on the way. Got him swinging.
Boy, that's coming back after giving up the home run and mowing him down. 1-2-3.
Phil Klein turns that into a winner. The Rangers have won 6 straight here at home and 11 out of their last 12. And they are now 12-6 with Tim Bogar as the interim skipper. Luis Alberto Bonilla wins his 3rd consecutive start to begin his career, the first Ranger pitcher ever to do that. And Phil Klein with the perfect 3-strikeout 9th inning seals the Ranger victory 5-1. A big night all around. Rangers put some good offense together. They got the long ball going back, a crooked number in the 7th inning, and they erupted for 4 on a couple of home runs. And good pitching, good defense made it stand up here tonight. Rangers sweep the Houston Astros.
He kind of set that pitch up with the sliders before it. Then he ran his fastball with good movement on the inside part of the plate and threw it by him. So Phil had given up the home run and a walk in the 8th inning. And you thought that maybe that was his 1 inning, but Tim stuck with him. He let him go back out for the 2nd inning, and Phil went after him and got a 1-2-3, 3-strikeout 9th inning to finish off the game. So great job by Phil.
Well, the Rangers win it 5-1. Let's head down to the field. Emily Jones has one of the stars of the night.
Thank you very much, Rougned Odor. Rugi, 11 of 12 wins for you guys. It's got to feel good the way you're playing as a team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good right now, and we're winning, and we just trying to finish the season strong, and
Talk about the pitch that you hit out of the ballpark. What was that? Take me through the at-bat.
Yeah, I faced him before, and I know what kind of pitch he throws, so I looked for the fastball, and he threw me the fastball, and I hit it good.
Now that was after the double play that didn't get turned. I saw Adrian talking to you in the dugout. You were listening to what he had to say, and then the very next half inning, you go up and hit that home run. Were you wanting to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I always...
I didn't know it was coming, Rugi. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know it was coming. Okay, take me through that. Adrian's giving you... Is it cold?
Yeah, it's really cold.
Adrian's giving you the pep talk about the defensive play, and then you come right back out and hit that home run. Was that on your mind?
I mean, I always try to, do my job, and, I mean, I'm not thinking about homers, but I hit the ball really well, and, I mean,
It worked out. It worked out. Go dry off, Rugi. Up top, Rougned Odor. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Yeah, good quick feet, though, to get out of the way yourself.
I
Nice
tried.
going. That's good moves. All right, well, the Rangers win it 5-1. They sweep the Astros. And John Radigan and Mark McLemore, Yvonne Pudge Rodriguez back to wrap things up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.